On Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitch for information on breaking news, chances to win prizes, and video of all the shows. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Stay in touch with Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7 on social media. We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. It's time for Sports Time with Wolo and Stacks. The first hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin and Brett Stotts Norsworthy.
Welcome in on a terrific Thursday. I must confess, Brett, I admire...
It's good for the soul, Dave, I hear.
What's that?
Confession.
Oh. Yes, that is not.
Remember, we're a G-rated show.
I've never done an organized thing of that.
Okay.
No, but my confession to you today is that I have always admired Mike Norvell and his ability to coach football and to figure out how to exploit matchups and make playmakers and
create one-on-ones.
Create one-on-ones, figure out who to attack and how to attack them, and make better players out of good players, okay? This week, we had our normal meeting today. If he's leaving, you can't tell because he is focused on this game like
he's that
all
resolute.
The time.
That's good.
And I
respect
I
that.
basically said in as politically correct way I could so he wouldn't get too mad at me because I tend to make him mad at me. And I said, how do you block out the distractions? And he said, do I look distracted? I said, you know what I'm talking about, the team. How did he go? Look, I can't control any of that, but I can tell you we had great practices this week. And we have a game plan, and then we start talking about the game plan and all the different things that he does. And, you know, this is a fairly rare occurrence where you're going to play back-to-back, you know, regular season and then a championship game, or just back-to-back. And believe me, he knows that out of the first three, only one swept. The other two split. So, and basically was asking him about the process, you know, what you've learned and what they've learned. How does all that come out? And it was really interesting. But my point is, amongst all of the swirling, and I'm not going to tell you he's the greatest actor in the world. I think he is really sincere. He blocks all that stuff out. And if he is leaving, and that is clearly the majority speculation around this town, if he is leaving, you can't tell. He is a poker-playing son of a gun.
Dave, I think a lot of us have to have an ability to compartmentalize, you know, the task.
Absolutely.
And I don't mean to pat myself on the back, but look, at 3:00, I got sports to think about. Mm-hmm. I got to leave a lot of, and it's not that much going on, but I got to leave some stuff behind. You the same thing, and then you know at 6:00 I can kind of enter back into the real world. For him, it's very real. He never gets to leave. It's always the real world for him because it's his job. It's coaching. But he has this week appeared to have been able to compartmentalize. And it be all on the job that he has right now, the task at hand. And that is a real talent for people because some people really get clogged up with the green eye shade. They can't focus in on one task at a time. They're trying to kind of drink water out of a fire hydrant, and it's impossible to do.
I'm with you there. I think people that are really good at what they do, that excel, have the ability to channel in on what they have to at that moment, and all the other stresses and pressures of the world go away for the time that they're doing that task.
It's a real talent for some.
And the truth is, Mike Norvell has Jimmy Sexton working deals.
That's why they pay him.
And he doesn't have to worry about that. And then when he's got a break at 10:30 at night and he's between film watching because the guy is a fiend at viewing football film, he probably goes, Jimmy, what's the word? And I'm making that up because he hasn't told me that, but
right.
It's something along those lines. I suspect that if there was something that was pressing, that was really urgent, not during practice, but during film sessions, Jimmy could text him and say, hey, give me 2 minutes.
Yeah, and he is the best, and I will guarantee you at some point, I would almost suspect, let me change guarantee to suspect, at some point this week with Billy Napier, with Lane Kiffin, and with Mike Norvell, 3 prominent clients of his that are in championship games. You coach football, and you let me handle contract negotiations.
Does he have Mike Leach, by the way?
I don't think so, but I'm not certain. I don't think so.
Because, Mike Leach
re-upped with Washington
just
State.
Got a nice raise. Thank
you. Name off the board.
To everybody else, and there's a name off the board. Much like the Washington job, that would have been a major concern.
Matt Campbell at Iowa State.
And Matt Campbell. All those that might have been dangerous that's done. Really what we have left at the moment, because who knows about what Lincoln Riley's going to do, but what we have at the moment is Arkansas, Ole Miss, Missouri, Florida State, right? Those are the 4.
With Florida State being the real domino effect.
Yes, because that's the top job.
That's the top job. Clearly the top job. Interesting name out there today for Missouri, and I brought it up a few weeks ago, and I think whenever he leaves, it will be with a ton of emotion on every level. But Missouri now seems to be very interested in the Arkansas State coach, Blake Anderson, who lost his wife in August after a long, protracted, horrible illness, and then her passing away. And he got there and stayed to Arkansas State after they were on the conveyor belt with
2 years
with
and
Gus
out. 2 years and out.
One in a lot of cases. Yeah. Gus and Coach Freeze.
I believe
Brian
Freeze
Harsin.
was only one, right?
He was. Gus was only one. Harsin was 1 or 2. And then he got there and he stayed, and they win, and they're going to be really good next year. Just told Drew, their quarterback, Lane Hatcher, Sun Belt Freshman of the Year. Tigers see them on opening day. And he is a crafty, super ball player. That will be a good game opening day. But anyway, Blake Anderson has done a good job. Missouri would be getting a fantastic coach.
I'll tell you about Blake Anderson. Obviously, he was totally distracted to start this season. He came back just in time for SMU, and SMU obviously was a really good football team.
And had them beat until late.
But lost. Mm-hmm. And then they did not get off the out of the chutes really well.
No, they didn't.
But he recovered because he's a good coach.
Yeah, now I went up Ole Miss. We had an open date, the last playing date, October, and I went to the Arkansas State, Texas State game, and really impressed with everything about him and about his football team, and really about Arkansas State's football program, complex footprint.
Jonesboro in total,
it's unreal.
From when I first arrived in this market in '81 to now, it's like a metropolis. It's incredible, the growth.
It's a long way from 2001.
I am impressed with the leadership of that city to direct it
very much
and to grow it as much as they have.
And my buddy Chuck Welch, the president of the Arkansas State University system.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, he was smart enough to hire my
cousin
to be the head of physics for them.
Very nice. And their athletics director, Terry Mahajer's done a great job there. So I don't know which way Arkansas State would go. I'm completely just spitballing here and throwing out a name.
You sure Blake Anderson's going to take this gig?
I'm not, but if he did, Arkansas native Rhett Lashley, offensive coordinator at SMU, would be something for that job.
I am, I've heard folks mention Rhett Lashley in terms of the University of Memphis if Mike were to leave. Mm-hmm. And look, I know that Chip Long would be very interested in this job. The kid that's the LSU passing coordinator, Brady. Joe Brady. He's certainly in the mix. My pick would be Ryan Silverfield. I can tell you that right now. He's an NFL kind of a guy. He's been with Mike ever since he laid foot on this campus, and he's just sheer class. He knows what he's doing, and he would run the same offense that Mike's been running.
In
other words, and I'm not saying I know he's going for sure.
That's right.
But there are definitely people that would step in and do a heck of a job if indeed Mike leaves. Now, I hope he doesn't leave.
And I don't know him at all. I have not met him since he's been in town. But from what I've seen and people that have and know him well, I trust Laird Veach in this position. And you don't know that he doesn't have someone along the way that he has cultivated a relationship with. But I've been reluctant all week to kind of go the direction we've just gone the last 6 minutes or so, because I think this week for Tiger football fans at this penultimate moment, they deserve inside the lines blocking and tackling and kind of Cincinnati championship game breakdown and conversation, because there's plenty of time for that next week.
I am really glad that you said that, because I've talked with two people that I really admire. One of those is Norvell today, and the other, I'm not going to mention his name, but he's in the administration. And he said the one thing that really irks me, and it may have affected ticket sales, and I'm going to get to that in our top stories of the day, but that this distraction of Mike possibly leaving has taken away the emphasis on what should be, as you mentioned, the penultimate moment. This is the opportunity of a lifetime for this Memphis football team. They never won 11 before, let alone 12.
They deserve this spotlight.
To get a conference championship, and to play in the Cotton Bowl against who could be Florida or Alabama or Notre Dame, for that matter, or Baylor. I mean, we're talking about things that we've never done before, and our concentration has been on that. And Mike mentioned it today. I actually started our little chat this morning, and he's the second guy to come in. Adam Fuller is the first, and said, well, it was bright outside yesterday. You feel like you got robbed in broad daylight? And, he said, I'm really, really upset for Brady White. And then he started to go, and really for all the players, because he goes, did we win 11 games this year? I said, yes, sir. Was that the best, really, tie breaks and everything? Is that the best overall record in the American Athletic Conference? Yes, it is. Well, I really must be a heck of a coach, because there's only one regular player on the first team all-conference.
Well, he is. He is a heck of a coach. He got robbed.
And how did Niamata Lolo get that? But really, how in the world is Malcolm Perry and Shane Buechele considered better than Brady White? Mm-hmm. Because without question, according to Mike Norvell, the MVP of this team is Brady White.
I don't think there's any doubt about it. I mean, you look at his numbers and his leadership, and really from when a lot of criticism out of the Temple game from that point on, what he's done and how he's led, I think Brady White's had a great year. And I know there's some that it's still not exotic enough for him and his arm strength down the field. But I look at left-hand column and TD to interception ratio and all clear.
I look at his arm strength as being more than adequate. I mean, it's not a cannon, but it's not a squirt gun, for goodness sake.
No.
I mean, he makes throws 40 or 50 yards. What more do you want? And
he gets there.
He reads the defense better than anybody else. And by the way, he doesn't ever there may be one or two where he just jammed it too hard, but he knows touch throws too. Yeah. I don't, and we had a texter who took me to task the other day. I believe Gabe Kuhn is a guy who said, well, Brady didn't have great moment. And look, he had the one decision where he should have run with the ball. That's where they really booed the loudest. Yeah. That's fair. He probably should have. And then Mike made more of an emphasis with him, because you develop quarterbacks if you're Mike Norvell. He said, if you can run the ball, I don't care if you get 3 or 4 yards, that's a positive play. Do it. And since that time, the guy's been terrific, and he makes just about every time the right read on where you're going to go with the ball and getting it to him. I just don't get it. I really don't. And I think it's a shame that the American Athletic Conference, and I think it's the coaches that voted on this, that sort of established in our own fans' mind that he's not worthy of what he should be getting all the praise.
Very short-sighted.
Because he's a better quarterback than Malcolm Perry. Malcolm Perry's a great runner. He's not a great quarterback. And Shane Buechele is really good, but last time I looked, Memphis beat him.
Yeah, that night, I don't remember the exact statistical battle, but to the victor go the spoils. This hour brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis, 2600 Ridgeway, and online at lexusofmemphis.com, 362-8833, Lexus of Memphis, offering the Golden Opportunity Sales Event in this December to remember. Great offers on all 2020 models and special lease options. If you've ever thought I'd look great in a Lexus, well, guess what? You will in 2020 with one of those beautiful cars at Lexus of Memphis. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of an all-new 2020 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and that makes for the luxury driving experience. 8833. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
I got a lot. If Navy were to win one more game, either over Army or a bowl game, which I think they will, and if Memphis beats Cincinnati, they will have beaten 4 teams, or they will have won 4 games over teams with 10 wins. 10 wins, and they'll have 4 wins.
You look at
they got 3 already. If Navy wins,
of
one more.
Teams playing in championship games, you better have gotten into double digits, or you're not in that game hardly. Maybe the MAC championship, the exception. And I missed the MAC not being tonight. You know, it usually was Thursday night fair. It's a Saturday game this year, but everybody kind of out of the way of the NFL.
I got a little on that theme along those lines. The Tigers have sold 30,000 tickets for this game.
Good.
They'll have a walk-up. They had a
6 to 8,
flash sale of
10,000.
Well, you know what? Their original goal was 45,000 because that was what UCF had to break their record. I don't know if they'll get there. But if they can get anywhere near 40, that would be terrific. Their average this year is 39,784. So if they were able to get, say, 42 in there, they would average 40,000 per game. That would be incredible. Last little note on this for top story of the day. Desmond Ridder, the quarterback who did not go last week, that's been the starting quarterback all year for Cincinnati, he's listed on the Bearcats depth chart. We'll talk with Dan Hort about this at 4:45 today. Ridder is listed as the number 1 quarterback this week. We probably will see him over Ben Bryant, the freshman who played last week.
And, Dave, remember that 40,000 average for the Tigers, that capacity is now around 58,000, so that would be percentage of capacity and close to the 70% rate. That's what you judge places by, the percentage of capacity. You know, if you're UCLA and at the Rose Bowl Stadium that seats 105, and you go, hey, we had 60,000 here. Yeah, but you had 55 empty. Percentage of capacity, I think, is everything. My top story, 16 college basketball teams remain undefeated. Keep that in mind later for Germantown Commissary and Collierville Commissary Big Q of the Day question. 16 college basketball teams undefeated, 1 from the AAC, SMU, 2 from the SEC, Arkansas and Auburn, and it highlights how wide open it seems this college basketball season seems to be. A lot of really good teams are not undefeated, like the Tigers, and Memphis surely among about 15 to 20 that can be thinking right now about winning it all come the first Monday of April in 2020. Duquesne's undefeated, Liberty's undefeated, West Virginia, Butler, DePaul, Indiana, Maryland, Ohio State, Delaware, San Diego State, Colorado, and Arizona to go with SMU, Arkansas, and Auburn that I mentioned, the 16 undefeated teams in college basketball.
That is a great stat. Can I make you a little lunch bet?
Sure.
At the end of the year, there will be 0 undefeated teams.
Ratchet the bet up to end of the calendar year 2019. 16's not very many undefeated for December 5th.
But we're only talking 3 weeks. Somebody could get out of 16 teams. Somebody's going to make it.
Somebody could thread the needle, but it won't be many. I'll guarantee you February 1 will clear everybody out.
I'm with you there 100%.
Not top story of the day.
This is off sports, so I got them for both, but I just found this out. And I'm really sad. Elwood Shells, sort of a seafood place in Cooper Young. You know, it's the same guy that does Elwood Shack, which is by the Lowe's at Perkins and Summer. Elwood Shells has closed. Oh, so good. Now they're opening up a new Elwood's that's going to be in South Haven on Getwell and I guess Neal, or I don't know the street, but I think it's in South Haven. That will have some of Elwood Shell's menu items. That's a great place. I'm so bummed.
One of your hangouts.
Well, not total hangout, but I like going there.
You did. My not top story. The USC Board of Trustees, Southern Cal, one of the gold-plated names in college football history, reportedly very mad at the deal that they signed off on for the buyout for Clay Helton. So incensed that they've said any Jimmy Sexton clients are heretofore off limits. Cry me a river, poor USC. You got out and negotiated. Too bad. Life in the big city. Look, you're in Los Angeles. Go talk to some of those Hollywood talent agents.
Can I ask you a question? if they're not going to talk to any Jimmy Sexton clients,
you're not going to have a football coach.
Who are they going to get?
No, but
who are they going to get?
Or USC.
One little last one that was involving sports. Adam Vinatieri. You know I'm a kicker guy.
Straight stops tonight, or this weekend.
Knee injury, not going to be able to kick.
You know, last week he played against Mike Vrabel. He was older than Vrabel.
I know it. Probably not going to kick for the rest of the year. Could be done totally. He is the all-time leading scorer in the history of the National Football League. 68% field goal, though, ratio this year. He missed 14 kicks.
I got a theory about NFL kickers.
I think he was injured.
I think their minds have been collectively blown, their confidence shattered with the extra point backing up.
10 yards? They never missed those field goals from that distance.
10 yards.
What is it? Is it 15 yards back?
It went from the 2 to the 20. I mean, it's about a 28, 30-yard extra point now. And missing those, having trouble with those, I think
it's
really
a 28-yard kick. It's coming from the 18, so they're putting it down at the 11.
But I think that
no,
they're
it must
confident.
Be. Yeah, but you know what they're doing? They're putting it down at the 15. So it's
I don't know where
30.
It's
probably a 33-yard kick.
And
I think that's what it is.
And it has rattled their confidence on field goals. I mean, Mr. Reliables like Vinatieri, even Gotti before he got hurt was
no, he was hurt. That's why he was missing. He couldn't finish because the hip socket was killing him.
But a lot of kickers, the good kicker
Brett,
for
that's
years,
all mental because
it is a very mental
What
thing.
do you think their percentage from 35 yards in was? It's incredible.
85 north.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Dan Bailey, that good kicker for the Cowboys now, he's bounced around a little bit. He looks
he's
like
going to get bounced around tonight.
The oldest kicking Carlson. It's on the 15, so it's 33 yards.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. And that makes a difference from that old chip shot.
Drew, if you can Google this really quickly. Prior to the last 2 years, because this is when it came in, what was the percentage an NFL kicker made from 33 yards? And I'm going to tell you it was way up.
And those guys are fragile, and we saw the fragility in the college game a week ago tonight with Ole Miss when he got backed up.
Yeah.
But I thought one thing that really hurt him, and Luke Logan's a really nice young guy, but one thing that hurt him was, in effect, sorting out the penalty froze him.
True. That was like a timeout. You're right. His reaction when he just went down on all fours. Oh my goodness, my heart broke for him.
I went to all fours too.
I know you did. Honestly, tell me, don't shade it. Worst moment then, heart sinking. Game 6 World Series when you fell to the ground and I had to pull you back up.
I'm going to go off the board. Scott Field, Davis Wade Stadium, 2013. Bo going into the end zone to continue overtime and strip right before he got to the goal line.
Oh, that's your lowest moment?
It was pretty low.
Wow.
And
I didn't think anything could be Game 6 of the World Series.
That night in 20. The weather last week at Egg and Iron was great, but I was frozen that night in 2013.
All right, we've got to take a break. We got such a busy show. Coming up in a minute here, Bill Bender on college football from the Sporting News. Elliot Perry inside Hoop City. Russell Copeland on the National Football League, the voice of the Bengals and of the Cincinnati Bearcats. That would be Dan Horde. He'll join us at 4:45. Greg Gaston, who will be with us in the booth for a little bit and on the sidelines in the game, the championship game against Cincinnati at 5 o'clock. Blake Lovell, as always, at 5:30. Crunch time coming your way at 5:50. As always, we're busy on this Thursday on Sports Time with Wolo and Stats.
Get happy with Johnny Radio's Happy Hour. Weekday afternoons from 1 till 3 on Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
Ian Eagle and Tony Baselli here from Westwood One with a Thursday night football preview. We're in Chicago for primetime NFC action between the Bears and the Dallas Cowboys coming up at Soldier Field. Tony, both teams are 6-6, but that's where the similarities end.
That's right, Ian. The Chicago Bears are playing good football, winners of 2 straight, and the big one on Thanksgiving Day. While the Dallas Cowboys, they are searching for answers right now. They've lost 2 straight, and offensively, they're only averaging 12 points a game in those losses. The Bears are fighting to stay relevant in the playoff picture and trying to make the wild card, while the Dallas Cowboys are holding on to the NFC East.
Looking forward to it, Tony. A lot on the line when the Chicago Bears host the Dallas Cowboys on Thursday Night Football.
Remember to listen to Westwood One's coverage of the NFL all season long, right here on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
Napa know-how.
Just in time for the holidays, select Craftsman tools are now available at Napa. Celebrate with a Craftsman 20-volt cordless impact wrench kit for just $149.99. It's the perfect gift for everyone on your list, even you. So get great savings on select Craftsman tools, now available at your local Napa store. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating Napa Auto Parts stores while supplies last. Offer ends 12/31/19.
Pros, for the brands you trust to get the job done right, start with Lowe's, because Lowe's has the power you need and at the right prices. Stop in today and pick up a Metabo HPT 1 3/4 inch 15-degree pneumatic roofing nailer for $40 less, now just $249. And stock up on saw blades and save $4 on a Spider Framing and Construction 7 1/4 inch 24-tooth steel circular saw blade, now $598. Whatever you need to get the job done, and every job after, do it right for less. Start with Lowe's. Offers valid 12/5 through 12/11 U.S. only.
This is the time of year when people come in from out of town and you want to impress them, and there's simply no better way to impress out-of-towners than 117 Prime in the heart of beautiful downtown Memphis. If your family or friends are visiting Memphis for the first time or for the first time in a long time, take them to the finest dining destination in downtown Memphis, 117 Prime. They'll be amazed by the best steaks in town and the best atmosphere anywhere in the city. 117 Prime is built to impress your visitors. 117 Prime is simply built to impress.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
Got something you want to get off your chest?
You better have a backup plan.
Want to join the conversation?
Someone needs to tell him he has to grow up.
Join us on the First Bank phone lines at 360-8255 or the First Bank text line at 67129. Now, back to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats on Sports 56 and 87.7 FM. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Wilson and Brett Noseworthy.
They're doing it again at Family Leisure. Yeah, it's time for Christmas. And that buy one, get one half off for Christmas sale going on right now. Look, this is the best deal. You buy something for your family, you buy something for your friends, you can even buy something for yourself, and you get it half off. That is the coolest thing. Buy one item for someone special, get the second one half off, and it could be for you. Best deals in town until Christmas Eve. Pool tables as low as $14.99. Arcades as low as $9.99. Massage chairs, those are so cool. They're holding that price still at $6.99. Hot tubs as low as $1,400. Stop by Family Leisure now. Get your Christmas shopping done in the best way. That's I-40 and Wooden Road. It's holiday fun all coming together.
You can text us at 67129 at the First Bank text line, 360-8255 at the First Bank phone line, and a texter with a smiley face at the end. Brad, I think Elijah Moore went to all fours, too. Little soon.
It's still too hurtful.
Little soon.
I get that. Bill Bender joins us now from the Sporting News. He's their college football analyst. Good afternoon. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. I know you.
He was at the big house.
I know you were there. And explain to me, if you can, that Jim Harbaugh refused to answer. What is What's the difference? Where is Michigan compared to Ohio State now? What's the reason?
Well, I mean, the question was fair and accurate, but I mean, I don't think you want to tell the world, oh yeah, they're just better than us, and they just have more NFL players, and they just got a difference maker at every level that we don't have. I don't think you can say that in a press conference. I mean, maybe you can, but that is the difference. I mean, Ohio State is just better at recruiting and developing NFL talent than Michigan is. It's really that simple, and the gap's pretty considerable between them and it's not just a Michigan thing. They're just better than everybody else in the Big Ten by a wide margin.
And a lot of other conferences.
I mean, Brett, the gap between Ohio State and the rest of the Big Ten is the same as Clemson and the ACC, if not more, and the teams in the Big Ten are better. So that's kind of the shocking part to me.
Yeah, and Bill, I said yesterday or sometime this week that I thought the top 30 players, and exclude kickers, the top 30 offensive and defensive players, whatever position, that the Ohio State roster, that top 30, was better than LSU's top 30 or Clemson's top 30 or Alabama's top 30 or Oklahoma's top 30 or Baylor's top 30.
Probably. And, I mean, here's the other thing is they say I had this argument with my buddies on Tuesday, so I've kind of gone through this one a few times this week where, okay, yeah, fire Harbaugh, that's fine. Who's Coach Right guy? Whose coach gets it? I mean, like, Jim Harbaugh literally checked every box when they hired him. He was the right guy. He does get everything. But he just hasn't been able to recruit on the same level as Ohio State, and that gap has widened over the last 2 years. I mean, they played well for the first half, but they also gave up, they left 12 to 15 points on the board in a game with no margin for error.
Where does he miss in recruiting? Is it in the Midwest? Is it going to Florida? Is it going to Texas? Where is the big miss? Is it Michigan, Ohio, Western PA? Where?
Well, I mean, they both recruit nationally. So, I mean, Ohio State, what changed with Urban Meyer was started recruiting like Alabama. They recruit guys from the South, five-star guys. And it doesn't matter where they come from. They're just born five-star guys and then developing those five-star guys. I mean, Michigan has got a couple of them since they've been there. Rashawn Gary was from New Jersey. Daxton Hill was from Oklahoma. Jabril Peppers was from New Jersey. I mean, they've had guys come in and play well. It's just the number Ohio State gets, okay, yeah, I just mentioned those guys. What about Joey and Nick Bosa and Chase Young and Justin Fields and J.K. Dobbins from Texas? I mean, Ohio State has 3 Heisman Trophy contenders right now.
They do. You're talking Dobbins, Fields, and Chase Young, right? I'm assuming Young is probably your second guy, right?
Well, I mean, Justin Fields has 47 total touchdowns this year between rush and pass and 1 interception.
It's phenomenal. 37 TDs to 1 INT all year, and doing it with all the pressure on him.
Yeah, and then the other part of it is, Ohio State is really good, and Michigan's not bad. Michigan could win a bowl game and win 10 games for the 4th time in 5 seasons, and yet this gap still exists. And I was talking to Ralph Russo about this a little bit when bumped into him at the Ohio State-Penn State game. It's like, if you take Ohio State out of the Big Ten, Wisconsin, Penn State, Michigan, that's fun. I mean, that'd probably be a pretty interesting debate year in and year out, because that'd probably be 3 different champions the last 3 years. But Ohio State is going to win the Big Ten for the 3rd straight year. The margin of victory has gotten bigger. They eliminated the inexplicable loss this year, like no Iowa or Purdue game. It's when they bring their I always use that baseball analogy with them. Their fastball, when they bring it, the other teams in the Big Ten can't hit it.
If you're Jim Harbaugh, is this all – let's face it, Jim Harbaugh is a great coach. The only guys that he's lost to on a regular basis is Ohio State. So I say this with all the best of respect for Harbaugh, but is the one thing he's got to do recruit better? Is that the bottom line if he's going to catch Ohio State?
Well, and then their game preparation hasn't been great the last 2 years. I mean, Don Brown, I think, could be the next to go. They did shift they shifted the program's entire offensive philosophy based on last year's Ohio State game. They hired Josh Gaddis, takes a couple games to work, and then once it starts working, toward the end of the year, it's pretty good. I mean, Shea Patterson played well in the first half. Threw for 250 yards in the first half. They didn't make adjustments. You know, he's 424 in the second half. They still can't run the ball. And then, you know, defensively, I mean, when you get shredded for, I can't even add it up half the time, 62 one year, 56 the next, almost 1,200 yards of offense in 2 games. I think Don Brown's days might be numbered. And that comes down to, again, Ohio State has the players, they have better players, and the gap is pretty considerable.
Is there anything facilities-wise that Michigan could spend on? Do they need the super indoor or the more weight room? Is anything like that to draw it more even? Nutrition?
I mean, they have a nice field house. They have good facilities. It's not like they're bad. Ohio State's are probably better. But again, I think it's the off-season program. You know, you got to look at that now again, because Ohio State, Justin Fields has been Ohio State's campus since January, and he was the one that lobbed out there that they take it more seriously than Michigan, and that's going to hurt fans because both sides obviously take this thing pretty seriously. I've been talking about it all week, but it's the fact that he's a guy that played at Georgia and he comes into this rivalry and says that is, I think he knows what the score is, and he was one of the bigger difference makers. So I think it just, institutionally speaking, Ohio State is able to say they can compete for national championships every year. I don't think any other Big Ten program can. I guess we could say Penn State is trying to get there too, but I mean, I just look at them in the same way that I do Michigan. That we talk more about where James Franklin might be looking than we do where Penn State is headed.
Bill, on the coaching carousel front, I have told friends at a lot of places this week, all 3 openings in the SEC, Missouri, Ole Miss, and Arkansas. And at 2 of the 3 places, I can kind of understand the first reaction to not wanting Tom Allen at Indiana. And I like Tom Allen, but Tom Allen has a little bit of a personality deficit. He's just a doer. He's not a talker. He would not win a press conference. And to hire him at Ole Miss and him having been on Hugh Freeze's staff might be an impediment to some. And at Arkansas, if you mention the Big Ten, all they think of is Brett Bielema. But, boy, I think Tom Allen at Mizzou, Tom Allen at all these places would be a really good coach. Why do you think there's not a more market for him? And being a defensive guy, is that hurting him?
Well, we'll see. I mean, obviously, he's a guy that took Indiana to an 8-4 season, which they should. I didn't know. Are they in the last? They were in the last rankings, weren't they? 25, maybe. For them to get an 8-win season is pretty remarkable. Yeah. He is a motivator. He's working in a division where, you know, their only losses this season were to the 4 teams that have more stuff than they do. They gave Penn State a good shot. They gave Michigan State a good shot, and they're not there with Ohio State and Michigan, but Indiana hasn't been with Ohio State and Michigan in my lifetime. I don't think you can get to Ohio State or Michigan's level at Indiana other than maybe beating them once. So, yeah, I mean, that'd be interesting. He can do more with less. I think as far as the programs you mentioned, Ole Miss, they'd have to talk themselves into it. But, I mean, certainly a guy that's done a nice job in Indiana. Look at his recruiting, too. He's pulled some kids from the South up to Indiana, and honestly, I don't know how he did that.
James Franklin, his name always comes up. I don't know if he's really all that interested in moving from Penn State, but it always seems to come up. If you were a betting man, will he be in State College next year?
We'll see. Yeah, I think he's going to get a raise if he is, no matter what. I mean, that's something that to keep in mind. USC retained help. That was probably the most logical spot. I've seen reports linking him to Florida State. That would be on him to decide because I've mentioned this gap to the Big Ten. Penn State's been a little closer to beating Ohio State the last 3 years, but Penn State's also essentially they have since and I've put the stat up a couple of games times this week. So since Jim Harbaugh came to Michigan, since we talked about it earlier, Penn State has a half game better record over the last 5 years than Michigan. And those 2 teams have essentially traded blowouts on each other's house the last 4 years. So it's what path do you want? Do you want to go try it at Florida and see if you can beat Dabo and be the second best program in the ACC, or you want to keep chipping away at the Ohio State machine. I will say this: Penn State's probably got a few more guys that are Sunday difference makers than Michigan does right
now. What else do you hear about the Florida State job, which is the plum job that is available at the moment?
Well, I mean, Mike Norvell's another name that gets linked to it quite a bit, and that's with good reason. You guys know the score there. You know what he's done for that program, and if Memphis gets to a New Year's Day Six Bowl, that's something with the Group of Five. It seems like the guy that gets the team to the New Year's Day Six Bowl ends up hightailing for another job, and we've seen that with P.J. Fleck. He's done a nice job in Minnesota. We've seen that with Tom Herman, who I think still has Texas on the right path, no matter what people say. And then I think, you could see that with Norvell, a guy that has done what he can do at Memphis and will continue to do if he stays there. But, he'd do some work at Florida State, too.
Apart from the coaching carousel, also this weekend, Jim McElwain, he's into the MAC championship game on Saturday. He never was able to win one of those at Florida. He got to 2 with the Gators. A pretty good comeback story for Jim McElwain.
Yeah, really good. I mean, awesome story that you look at his staff, they've got an bunch of NFL guys on that staff. They've done a nice job at Central. The MAC wasn't great this year, but I mean, his story, it's pretty cool to see him go from, what he did at Central to putting together a nice run here with them. I met from when he was at Florida, won a couple SEC championships.
Well, he was also very good at Colorado State. I mean, the guy's been a winner wherever he's been.
Yeah, and he'll be. I mean, this is an interesting weekend from the standpoint of whether you're Luke Fickell or Mike Norvell or Bill Clark or Lane Kiffin or McElwain, Billy Napier. I mean, these guys, these Group of 5 championship games, they might not draw huge audiences, but there's athletic directors watching these guys because they've certainly built some nice programs, and they're the kind of coaches you target for these openings. And I think all of those guys that I just mentioned have been in the discussion for some of the Power 5 openings that are there.
I can tell you around here it will be well watched, the Memphis and Cincinnati game. That is for certain. In the meantime,
yeah. Should be a fun game. A good rematch. It'll be interesting to see how Cincinnati adjusts after the turnovers last time.
I think the first adjustment is going to be they're going to start their starting quarterback because Desmond Sutter did not get to play last week, although the freshman Ben Bryant was terrific. He really was, but the team rallies around this other kid. And it's hard to sweep. It's really hard to win 2 in a row.
Yeah, but I mean, if Memphis does, they will earn their spot. I think it's going to be a fun game. And then, in Memphis, they're kind of slotted. It looks like the winner of this game is probably going to go to the Cotton Bowl and probably going to get either a Baylor or a Florida type team. I think one of the spreads of the rankings was Alabama did fall hard, and they probably fell to the Citrus Bowl with that Auburn loss.
Where do you think Tennessee will end up?
I mean, they could end up on a nice bowl game because of their fan base. They're like the Tax Slayer Bowl or the Outback Bowl in play there because of the turnover they enjoyed. And again, sometimes people go nuts. I do our bowl projections every week, and people lose their minds about them. But I just remind them all the time that, hey, sometimes you might be slotted in one bowl, but that fan base travels a little better, and the bowl people, they know those.
It's business.
Yeah, I mean, always will be.
He's Bill Bender from the Sporting News. Thank you, my friend. We appreciate it. We'll know for sure where everybody's going and where the coaching carousel is headed next Thursday when we talk with you.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Bill.
We appreciate it. Bill Bender, brought to you in part by Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, and, of course, tuning up. When it gets to be wintry, you can lose up to 5% efficiency every year that you skip a tune-up. When's the last time you had yours? You could be like 25% in the hole. And here's the good news. It's heating system tune-up time at Conway, where they will schedule your heating system tune-up for only $57. And this year, they're adding something. They're going to include a Google Mini Home absolutely free while the supplies last. That's right. You can get the Conway Super Saver tune-up, 16 points, $57, and get a Google Mini Home absolutely free. The experts want to make sure your heating system is ready for the cold nights, and they want you to stay connected with a free Google Mini Home. All you got to do is make the call, 384-3511, 384-3511. That's Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric. We take a break, and when we come back, we'll put a wrap on this first hour on Thursday here at the Flynn Broadcasting Center. This is Sports Time with Wolo and Stats.
Sports 56 now has 2 FM homes. You can now find real sports talk on 96.1 as well as 87.7 on your FM dial.
Is imitation the sincerest form of flattery? Not when it comes to your car audio. Stereo One is the leader in car audio, remote start, security, and more for the past 30 years. Stereo One is proud to announce the grand opening of their new location, 1983 Covington Pike, across from the Honda dealership. To celebrate their new location, Stereo One has marked down their entire inventory. Remote start systems at $129 with free installation. Subwoofer base packages start at just $199. Window tint starting at $129. The entire inventory of radios and touchscreens with features like Apple CarPlay, Bluetooth, and backup cameras are marked to go. Check out Stereo One before you buy online. Their knowledge, friendly sales staff, and pro installation team will take care of you. Visit the Stereo One new location today, 1983 Covington Pike, across from Honda, or visit their mega store at Mendenhall and Winchester. Make sure you go to the originators and not the imitators. Stereo One is still the one for your auto accessories.
You're in charge of hiring, and Indeed has solutions, like online skills tests, which let a candidate show that they're the right hire. Indeed will also give you this sticky frog, which will suddenly leap and stick to the face of the perfect hire. Okay, there's no sticky frog. But skills tests, that's a for sure.
See why independent research by Silk Road shows Indeed delivers 3 times more hires than any other job site. Post your next job at Indeed.com/hire and try skills tests for free. Terms and conditions apply.
Scott Graham here from Westwood One with a Thursday night football preview. Ian Eagle and Tony Baselli will have the call from Soldier Field in Chicago when Mitchell Trubisky and the Bears play host to Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys. Both are 6-6, but Dallas still leads their division in spite of losing their last 2. Chicago needs help and wins to achieve their playoff goal. Head coach Matt Nagy.
We understand that we're continuing to fight. Is it perfect? No. Can we be better? Yes. But as long as we just hone in on the Dallas Cowboys at home, who knows? You know, we're in a position where we need help. But none of that matters if we don't handle our business.
Can the Cowboys get back on the winning track, or will the Bears win a 3rd straight to improve their playoff hopes? Join us to find out on Thursday Night Football.
Remember to listen to Westwood One's coverage of the NFL all season long, right here on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
Napa know-how.
Right now, a 5-quart jug of Napa Full Synthetic Motor Oil and a Platinum Filter is just $23.98. That's a great deal for a great oil, which is another reason why this is the most wonderful time of the year. That's Napa Full Synthetic Oil and a Platinum Filter for $23.98. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
General states pricing. Sales prices do not include applicable state, local taxes, or recycling fees. While supplies last. Offer ends 12/15/19.
Pros like you do it right by starting with Lowe's to save on the brands you trust. Stop in today and get your choice of a DeWalt 20-volt max brushless cordless drill or a DeWalt 2-pack of 20-volt power tool batteries, each just $99. For your next electrical job, we have quantities you need of 250 and 1,000-foot rolls of Southwire Romex Simple 12-2 and 14-2 wire. Plus, get the electrical boxes, switches, dimmers, and conduit you need to complete the job. Load up today and every day. Do it right for less. Start with Lowe's. Offers valid 12/5 through 12/11 U.S. only.
Is your wife asking you to stop eating junk food? Well, we have you covered at Humdinger's. It's quick and it's healthy, and most important, it tastes amazing. With many choices from salmon salad to rainbow trout and grilled asparagus. Come visit us for lunch at Humdinger's, 6300 Poplar Avenue. So good, Coach Penny eats with us weekly. Don't forget, Humdinger's offers full-service catering for weddings, social events, or your corporate lunches. You can call 901-260-8292 to find out more.
Did you learn your ABCs when you were a kid? Well, as a grown-up, it's time to learn your CBDs, as in CBD edibles, oil tincture, pain cream, and beauty products. All found at your CBD store, with 3 locations: Poplar Avenue, North Germantown Parkway, and Goodman Road East. You'll find all natural, organic, and non-GMO products. Need to learn more? Your CBD store has a knowledgeable and friendly staff that can answer questions, help with choices, and put you at ease about your CBDs. Your CBD store, with 3 locations: Poplar Avenue, Cordova, and South Haven. Your CBD store, making it as easy for you as ABC CBD.
Now, back to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats on Sports 56 and 87.7 FM. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Wolochen and Brett Norsworthy.
Welcome back in. You already gave that stat about college basketball and the 16 undefeateds. Is there a good team, a really good team? I mean, Mike DeCourcy was talking about this a little yesterday. I don't think we could.
I think Oregon is a really good team.
I think they're pretty. They've already lost 2 or 3 times now.
I think Memphis is a really good team. I think Louisville, really good team.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple that will be. I think Dave Auburn may be better than they were last year, and they went to the Final Four.
You know what? As much as that guy irks me,
he can really coach.
Bruce Pearl can flat out coach.
Has teams very prepared.
And he's done it different ways. That's always impresses me. I'm going to go back to John Calipari. John Calipari has taken 4 different teams now to the Final Four. Which is UMass, Memphis, Kentucky. How many times has he taken Kentucky to the Final Four?
He's been able to do a lot of Final Fours.
He's had at least 4 different styles that have taken him that far.
At least
4 different styles.
Shot blocker defense with Camby.
Yeah.
Motion offense.
Dribble drive with Memphis.
Who's the guy? The Pepperdine went to Pepperdine.
Oh,
that guy was.
What was his name?
Horrible head coach,
but a great strategist. He came up with that philosophy.
Sure did.
What was his name?
Somebody help us.
Something with a W, I think.
I can't remember. But that guy
from Pepperdine.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually he developed it at a junior college, and then he ended up being a head coach at Pepperdine.
Boy, it's right
I'm
there.
pretty sure.
I can't come up with it.
Now it's going to kill me.
But there are some really good teams out there.
Yeah.
I think Florida will be fine.
I'm wondering how good SMU really is. They're the only one in the conference that
I haven't watched them play yet.
Tulsa's 6-1, and Tulsa, they were picked at the bottom.
Mm-hmm. I don't think he can coach at all.
You don't think Frank Haith can coach
at all?
Really?
Right in there in the Conzo Martin League of really bad coaches.
I think he's better than that.
You do?
Mm-hmm. I do.
Ooh.
I just don't think, for whatever reason, he doesn't get great players. That's one. So he makes the most with what he's got. The second thing that I'm not talking. He was there too. Haith was too. The thing that strikes me, it's a little like the guy that was at South Carolina. You see him all the time. He's a scout now. He's always at the NBA games.
Felton.
Exactly. George Felton's teams, just like Frank Haith's teams, about end of February, middle of February, end of February, right in there before March hits, they become disinterested. They've had enough of them. Mm-hmm. And that's what I think happens to his teams.
I think that is accurate in that George Felton's teams. He's around a lot, isn't he? I see him.
Oh, yeah. He hasn't
what if he lives around?
He hasn't had a coaching gig in 10 years.
Tell you another guy that's very similar to that, and see him around, David Hobbs at Alabama. I mean, his teams were something on February 1. March 1, checked out, ready for spring break.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Bad timing.
How good is the job Ron Gardner's doing at Tulane? I don't know.
Ron Hunter doing a good
Ron
job.
Hunter, yeah,
real good job. I've watched Tulane twice, and they've got some energy around that program.
They do. KJ Lawson's actually playing darn well for him. They've only lost once. They're 6-1, and they beat a really good team. It was one of those holiday tournaments, and then lost to a good team.
I think FSU's pretty good, and he sure can coach. Leonard Hamilton.
Oh, he almost came here. We should have had him. That would have been instead of Josh.
I think Arizona's
Johnson
pretty good.
lowballed him. Who?
Arizona's pretty good.
Oh, Arizona's good. Arizona's real good. I'm just looking. when you look, so there's two teams, and you mentioned Auburn. Well, you mentioned Arkansas too. Both those teams are pretty good. By the way, did you watch the Grizz last night?
Some, yes.
Did you see Gafford?
I did.
Which I didn't think he had a chance of really being an NBA player.
I did, but could be classic in between guy.
Well, yeah, but
you're really going to throw him in at the post?
You know what? He jumps well enough to overcome it.
There's a lot of good leapers in that.
He had like 3 or 4 blocks last night.
Yeah. I thought he horribly misused at Arkansas, especially down the stretch last year, and it cost Mike Anderson.
It did. Musselman's going to do the job for them.
I think he will.
I think that was a really good hire.
A lot of energy around him and around the early signing period. Arkansas produces a lot more basketball players that can go anywhere than they do football players.
I know I'm going to miss it, but I'm sure we'll be all looking at it, and I'm obviously taping it. But the Memphis UAB game, that brings back memories to go to Gene Bartow Arena and to take on a team where Penny Hardaway played great in that arena. And, you go back to the wars that we used to have in CUSA with that team, and even with John Calipari, and they had to build the protection in the alcove over the alcove so you couldn't.
For Pierre Henderson-Niles.
Pierre Henderson-Niles. Joey Dorsey went in the stands there, too.
It was quite a fracas one night.
Oh, yeah. So that will bring back some pretty good memories, and, that could be the 8th win for the University of Memphis. That is an hour in the books. Dan Horde is kind enough to move to 4 o'clock for us. We're not going to be able to touch base with Elliot Perry, but we'll talk a little bit more Grizz and Tigers hoops a little bit later in the program. But up front and center, Dan Horde, the voice of the Bearcats. He will be with us next. I'll let you know this portion of the show is brought to you by the commissary. I ran into Walker Taylor at the Tiger game the other day. He's excited with the way the holidays are unfolding for him, and he wanted me to remind everybody, you got to get the bird or the hams for Christmas. Do you know how many birds they sold for Thanksgiving?
A flock. Lots of birds.
More than a flock. It was a migration. It was incredible.
A couple of flocks.
It was incredible, and he wants to thank everybody who partook. But you know what? Why wouldn't you want to? When you can get everybody else doing all the work, and you get the best tasting turkey ever. Yeah, ever. And you can get it both places. At the Germantown Commissary, the original in that little quaint neighborhood in Germantown, or the new one in Collierville, Poplar and Houston Levy Road with the drive-through and all the great food right there. Triple the size. You can't beat it. And think about for the holidays. You want to be a hero at your house, you make the best turkey and the best ham. And the best way to do that without really working is just go see Walker Taylor and all the gang at either of the current commissaries, Germantown or Collierville. Back in a minute. This is Sports Time with Wolo and Stats.
The construction reduction event is on at Wolf Chase Honda. Exciting changes are in the works and inventory must be reduced. Get the best deals right now on all remaining 2019 Hondas while they last. Every new car, every certified, every used car, price to go. Get pre-approved now at wolfchasehonda.com. Wolf Chase Honda is expanding and our prices are dropping. Don't miss these savings. Act now. This huge construction reduction event ends soon.
For the best lineup of quality, fuel-efficient, and fun-to-drive vehicles, get to Wolf Chase Honda and Wolf Chase Nissan. Over 1,000 new certified and pre-owned vehicles in one great location. Catch the savings now during our huge model year-end sales event. Score an amazing deal at Wolf Chase Honda and Wolf Chase Nissan and get to the game in style at Germantown Road and Highway 64. Family-owned since 1981.
It may not be stomach issues.
For me, it's intense gas, or pain, or diarrhea, sometimes all at once, over and over.
I spent years with the symptoms, but could never figure it out.
No matter what I did, they never went away. So I decided to break it down for my doctor and get really specific about my symptoms.
We discovered that exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, may be the reason for my stomach issues.
EPI is caused by my pancreas. It leads to diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, unexplained weight loss, and oily stools. The symptoms just don't go away.
But EPI can show up with even one symptom.
The good news? EPI is manageable.
But to get to the right diagnosis, you have to break it down for your doctor and get specific about the severity of your symptoms.
Visit identifyepi.com to learn more and use the symptom checker to help change the conversation with your doctor. Brought to you by AbbVie.
Pop the top on your next party. 34 North Cocktails. Available in Memphis now. Great for football grove parties, around the hunting campfire, and when you get home, entertain friends. Pop a premium can of Barrel Thief. Tastes just like an old-fashioned Barrel Thief made with aged bourbon, bitters, a hint of orange, a touch of vanilla, 15% ABV. Then, for you vodka lovers, try Sneaky Pucker, a refreshing lemonade premium vodka cocktail, 12.5% ABV. Made with super premium vodka, lavender, simple syrup, and lemonade. Delicious and smooth. Let the party begin with 34 North Cocktails.
Your nationally ranked Memphis Tigers are playing host to Cincinnati in the American Athletic Conference Football Championship game on Saturday at 2:30 p.m. This is the third straight championship game appearance for the Tigers, but this time it's at home. Tickets start at just $20 and are available now at GoTigersGo.com or by calling 901-678-2331. Memphis versus Cincinnati on Saturday, December 7th at Liberty Bowl Memorial Stadium. Be there and help the Tigers win the AAC Championship and a trip to the Cotton Bowl.
Stripe up. It's that time of year. Come join us at Family Leisure, 2120 Winton Road, Thursday, December 12th, all day, 7 to 6. We're raising money and, most importantly, bringing toys for Mid-South Toys for Tots. Help the boys and girls of the Mid-South have a happy holiday. You can do it. Bring those new unwrapped toys, checks, cash. Family Leisure, 2120 Winton Road, Thursday, December 12th, 7 to 6. Sponsored by Envy Nail Bar, Gateway Tire, David C. Nanny CPA, and Hempville, South Haven, and Oxford.
If you're an outdoorsman and love all things hunting and fishing, be sure to listen to Sports 56 Saturday mornings at 6 a.m. for Outdoors Today. Brought to you by The Gun Store, 6920 Winchester in Memphis. Outdoors Today is a one-hour show hosted by veteran Mark Tobin and a group of respected outdoor-loving guests. Outdoors Today is dedicated to bringing outdoorsmen tips and techniques and tactics to help with your hunting and fishing in all seasons. Saturday mornings at 6 on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 87.7 and 96.1 FM.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, more of Sports Time with Wolo and Stats on Sports 56 and 87.7 FM. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Welcome back in on this Thursday, and it's fun to get a chance to talk with Dan Hort. A very busy
championship
man.
game Saturday,
this
Dave.
Time of year, championship
Historic.
game. And poor Dan, he's got to worry about the NFL too. And the Bengals had a win the other day.
They did. Good for them.
How about that? Dan Hort joins us now,
Hey,
voice
Dan.
of the Bengals and of the Bearcats. How are you today?
Congratulations on two fronts.
Thank you. I'm doing well. How you guys doing?
Great.
All right, I got the notes today. I met with coaches today, and I noticed on the Cincinnati Bearcat game notes that Desmond Ritter is your starting quarterback, number one on the depth chart. What insight can you give us on that, Dan Hort?
All right, so I'm going to have to apologize. I know you started to ask me about Desmond Ritter. I'm at the Bengals Stadium right now, and some sort of large vehicle just drove by. So I assume you're asking about what I know about Desmond starting this week.
Yes.
He has been practicing. Apparently, he is, from what I'm told, close to being 100%, so I would expect him to start, and then we'll see how it goes. If he's able to throw the ball well, I don't think the plan is to stick both quarterbacks into the game unless Desmond starts to show signs that his arm is not up to snuff. So it looks like Desmond Ritter is back in there for Cincinnati, gives them a much better running threat. Ben Bryant is capable of taking his own read and gaining 4 or 5 yards. Desmond Ritter is capable of taking his own read and going 40 or 50 yards. So he gives Cincinnati that running threat at the quarterback position that they really didn't have last week.
So do you think the game plan will be radically different?
Yes, I do. I think the running threat with the quarterback changes the play calling quite a bit, because Ben Bryant, when he called his own read, he did have the one touchdown run, but almost every time you knew he was going to hand the ball off, almost regardless of what he saw the defensive lineman doing. In Desmond Ritter's case, it's 50-50. Anytime he's at the mesh point, he's just as likely to keep it and take off if that's what the defense is giving him. So it becomes much more of a running threat from the quarterback position.
I know when we talked with our coaches today, they were really impressed with, say, Josiah DeGuara, the tight end, who they thought was pretty good, but his route running really impressed the defensive coordinator, Adam Fuller. I think they knew Michael Warren was a really good running back, but they were really impressed with how hard it was to bring him down. So you learn things in a first game that you might be able to use in a second game. What do you think Luke Fickell, or maybe you've talked with him, what did he get out of this first game with Memphis?
You know, I honestly don't think it's as much of Luke Fickell gaining things as it is from the players seeing it in the flesh. So you can watch a lot of Memphis tape and see how good Coxie is or see how fast Gainwell is. But until you're on the field and trying to cover a guy like that or tackle a guy like that, it's very different from watching it on tape. So I think our coaches were fully aware of the skill position talent in particular. Now I think the Cincinnati players have a better idea of just how good those guys are.
Dan, when Cincinnati hired Luke Fickell after his interim stint at Ohio State, Ohio native, Ohio State Buckeye, known throughout that part of the world, did you think you were getting this good a head coach?
We didn't know, quite honestly. He had that one season where he was the interim head coach at Ohio State, and it didn't go particularly well. It was under difficult circumstances. But anytime you're the head coach at a program with that much talent and you don't have a great record, naturally it's fair to wonder, I wonder if this guy is just a great defensive coordinator or if he is going to be a great head coach. It didn't take long for him to prove that he is a great head coach. He's done phenomenal things in his 3 years at Cincinnati. Recruiting is going better than ever. So everybody around here is keeping their fingers crossed that he will be like Mike Norvell and stick around for a while.
Well, the talk around here, of course, it's swirling, is that he won't be, that he'll be going to Florida State. Is there that kind of discussion about Luke where after this championship game, both schools could lose two fabulous coaches?
There's a certain portion of the fan base that talks about it every single day of the year, and they've been conditioned to be worried about it because Cincinnati had a stretch of great head coaches that left after 3 years every single time. First, it was Mark D'Antonio. He went to Michigan State. Right. Then it was Brian Kelly. He went to Notre Dame. Then it was Butch Jones. He went to Tennessee. And I know fans there don't necessarily think highly of Butch Jones, but he was great when he was at Cincinnati. So because of that stretch of having good coaches that left after 3, this is year 3 for Luke Fickell. So people are worried. I'm not personally that worried. I'm not naive to think that there's no job out there that he would take. But I think his case is a little bit different from the others because he is the father of 6 kids. 4 of the 6 are very young. His wife is one of 10 kids, so she's got a huge family, and her family and his family both live in the Columbus area. So I don't think Luke Fickell is going to take a job that's a great distance away from Cincinnati. If the right job were to open up in the Midwest, I could see that. But I don't see him going across the country for a bigger paycheck or a slightly better chance to win a national championship. I just don't think that's the way he's wired.
And I don't think Ohio State's opening this year. Do you?
Doesn't look that way unless Ryan Day becomes an NFL prospect. But the job he's done has certainly made him safe, to say the least, at Ohio State if he wants to stay.
Dan, you saw the Buckeyes week 2. We both think they're the best team in college football. Of course, we haven't seen them in person. But I've seen a lot of the SEC teams in person, and just watching Ohio State on TV, they look to be all that, are they?
Yes, they are. And that was my conclusion after the game. I think I even said it on the post-game show after Cincinnati got blown out in Columbus. I said, this is the year where Ohio State isn't a slight tick below Alabama and Clemson. this is the year that they're right there with them and maybe above them. I think LSU, Clemson, Ohio State, pick one of those three, and you probably got your national champion.
I think you're right with that as well. We know how hard it is to win these two in a row because it's only happened 3 other times. This will be the 4th. And in 2 of them, they split. One of them, there was a sweep. To me, the teams are pretty even, which scares the dickens out of you if you're Memphis because the sweep would be very, very difficult. What's your impressions of the way this game will play out on Saturday?
Well, I agree with you. I do think the teams are even. And to me, the wild card is Desmond Ridder. If Desmond Ridder truly is close to 100%, I think the Bearcats have a very reasonable chance of going into the Liberty Bowl and getting out of there with a win. I suppose even if he's not, they've got a chance because Ben Bryant now has a little experience under his belt, and other than the 3 fumbles and the 2 interceptions, he played reasonably well last week. So I think it's going to be a nail-biter. Naturally, I'm hopeful that the Bearcats can get a little measure of revenge, but if they can't, I will be rooting for Memphis in the Cotton Bowl because I would love to see the American continue its tradition of going to these huge bowl games and shutting people up that don't realize how good this league is.
Yeah, I'm with you. I was impressed with Ben Ridder, Bryant, excuse me, because here's a guy threw only 12 passes all year long. You did tell us how good he would be. He was a prolific passer at a high school in Chicago, and they play some pretty good high school football up there. But to come into a game with that kind of pressure and show that kind of poise really impressed me. But the thing that you mentioned to me that stuck out this week as we were waiting to see if Ridder would play is the way the team rallies around Ridder. In other words, they really like this guy and play for him.
100% true. He's 20-3 as a starting quarterback over the last couple of years, and even in the games where he doesn't play particularly well statistically, down the stretch, he always seems to find a way to make a play that helps them win the game. So I think he's got that it factor. I don't know if he's necessarily an NFL prospect. He'll have to get better as a passer to have a chance to play in the NFL, but he is a tremendous college quarterback, and if the reports are accurate that he's close to 100%, I look forward to seeing him back in there.
So, Dan, it almost sounds like Memphis needs to prepare for a different team with the change at quarterback. What does Cincinnati have to prepare for? Because they're not preparing for a different Memphis offense or defense. What does Cincinnati have to do a lot better against the Memphis offense than they did just last Friday afternoon?
I think you have to prevent big plays. It's easier said than done. Memphis generates them as well as any team in the country, but the flea flicker obviously was a killer. There are a couple of long-running plays that the Bearcats have not typically given up against other opponents. So I think that's the number one thing that they will try to do defensively, just to avoid giving up those huge plays that turn into 4-play, 78-yard touchdown drives.
You mentioned that you'd be pulling for Memphis in the Cotton Bowl, and we appreciate that. I would be pulling for Cincy if you guys do win on Saturday in the Cotton Bowl. But my question is, will you be in the Cotton Bowl if you win? Because Memphis and Cincy could kind of split themselves off and allow Boise to go ahead of you. I don't think that should happen, but it could happen because they're basically ahead of you at the moment.
That is correct. With Cincinnati losing last week, Boise has moved one spot ahead of Cincinnati in the college football playoff rankings. Boise has a legitimate argument. They're a great team. They're going to play in their conference championship game at home against Hawaii, and I've read the articles from the Boise paper making their case. But I do think Cincinnati has a good case as well. They didn't have their starting quarterback last week. If they come back and beat the best team in the league on the road with their number one quarterback back, I think that's a pretty strong statement for how good Cincinnati is. If you go by strength of schedule, Cincinnati is vastly superior to Boise State. And I think by and large, Cincinnati has more impressive wins within their own league. I don't think that anybody that Boise has defeated, with the possible exception of Air Force, can compare with UCF and Temple. Two excellent teams. And I'll throw one more thing in there. The two teams have a common opponent. They both played Marshall. Boise State hosted Marshall early in the year and won by 7. Cincinnati played at Marshall and won by more than 30.
52-14, yeah.
Both teams are going to make their case if Cincinnati is able to beat Memphis, and naturally I'm hopeful that Cincinnati can jump Boise State and move back into that Cotton Bowl discussion.
Well, the other point that you have to make, too, is if you beat Memphis, you just beaten the 16th team in the college football playoff poll. In their poll, you took out a 16 where Boise would have beaten a Hawaii team that's not even in the poll. So
Absolutely, and that is the argument that Mike Oresco is trying to make. He's lobbying heavily in the days leading up to the game just in case Cincinnati wins. There's no doubt in my mind, and I don't think in anybody's mind, that if Memphis wins, Memphis goes. But because Cincinnati is one spot behind Boise State, there is a lot of politicking and posturing going on right now, and we'll see if it pays off if the Bearcats are able to win the game.
Well, this has been a heck of a run for Desmond Ridder, 20-3. That's astounding in its own right. And this Luke Fickell era has just been phenomenal.
Especially considering what he inherited. I mean, the program was really floundering under Tommy Tuberville. 4-8 his final season. He was warring with the fan base. Local recruiting had completely gone to pieces, and it didn't take long at all for Luke Fickell to turn it around. He did go 4-8 in his first season, but won 11 games last year. He's at 10 and counting this year. So it's been extraordinary. It really has been.
What was the best win this year? You mentioned the winning at Marshall 52-14, but was the best win over Central Florida?
Yes, I would say the home victory over UCF would be number one, definitely.
Because that put an end to their streak, didn't it?
It did. Well, not to their overall winning streak, but to their league winning streak.
Yeah. Last thing, Dan Hort has joined us, voice of the Cincinnati Bearcats and the Bengals. What's it like doing basketball without Mick Cronin? Have you ever? You were not the announcer for Huggins, were you?
The tail end of the Huggins era,
okay.
I was, and actually I did the games on the local TV package at the height of Huggins mania when Kenyon Martin was at Cincinnati and the Bearcats were number one in the country. So I did approximately 10 to 15 games a year for a few years on one of the local TV stations.
Mm-hmm.
But I was there on the radio for the tail end of Huggins. For 1 year of Andy Kennedy and for the entire Mick Cronin run. And now we are 8 games into the John Brannon era with a record of 6-2 and high hopes if Jaron Cumberland can stay healthy.
How different is it, seriously, working with Brannon as opposed to Cronin? And how different is the system?
Night and day. They are polar opposites when it comes to their coaching style. Although in year one, I think there's still going to be a lot of remnants left over. You've got guys that played for Mick Cronin for 3 years, and they are accustomed to doing things a certain way. And Coach Brannon is trying to find the perfect middle ground of installing his system while still playing to the strengths of the veteran players that he has. But I think over the course of the next couple of years, Cincinnati is going to go from being the beat you 54-51 type team to being one of the highest scoring teams in the league. He is a great offensive-minded coach, highly successful at Northern Kentucky University, and I think it's going to be a fun style of play.
Dan, you do Bearcats on Saturday, Bengals on Sunday. Gene Deckerhoff does FSU on Saturday, Buccaneers on Sunday. Is it one more that does college on Saturday and pros on Sunday?
Yes, Bill Hillgrove, Pitt, and the Pittsburgh Steelers.
So do you small brotherhood, but they're good guys.
So do you just live under a mountain of game notes and charts?
Totally.
I bet.
Totally. My wife jokes about when I break out the pen because, we all have our system for how we prepare.
Right.
In my case, it's an intricate series of multicolored pens that mean nothing to anybody but me. So once I break out the pen, she knows, all right, don't bother him for a few hours. It's time for homework for the next game.
There you go. I wish you the best of luck against Cleveland on Sunday.
And safe travels
and I wish
to Memphis.
You safe travels to Memphis. Can't wait to see you in the prospects on Saturday.
Did I hear correctly? Blue uniforms, white numbers.
You did.
Well, I don't know. Usually they're
That's-
very secretive
that's the
about
rumor.
that. Well, can I just tell you this? So Dan is complaining, and rightfully so.
Sure.
The numbers that the Tigers wore last Friday, you could not read.
Yeah,
if you were in the fifth row, you could
couldn't
not
see
read
it.
them. Those are all for the players. They love the look. They love those unis. You couldn't read the numbers. But if it is the blue with the white, those are readable numbers, Dan Hort, I promise.
Love it.
I knew you
I
would.
will not be as lousy as I was last week.
You're never
It was
lousy,
very
Dan.
comforting to know that
You're
I have
never
a chance
lousy.
to be able to read
Don't
the
be
numbers.
that rough on yourself, Dan.
Thanks.
Thank you.
See you Saturday.
All right. So
That is Dan Horde. He is the voice of both the Bengals and the Bearcats. Interesting.
That's the life in an airplane, doing both.
Life in an airplane, life with charts, as you just mentioned, and he's got multi-pens. I've got my own little system. And
The colored pen system is the common denominator of us, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And you laughed at me the other day because I had that red Sharpie in my extra bag, that bag I had everything in. If I was ever on Let's Make a Deal, I would win.
You know why? Because that was like an engineering bag. You have a splitter in there, and I don't know what else you had in there. And then
Scotch
a pen.
tape?
Well, Scotch tape you always have to have.
For the win.
Yeah.
Yeah, got to have it.
Yeah. He's a good guy.
Great
and he's had a tough year with the Bengals. Woo.
Yep, a fun Saturday. Bengals full rebuild. When they cut loose from Marvin Lewis, you knew it was going to be bad.
Yeah.
They need a quarterback.
You did.
At one point, they were tanking for Tua. They may be tanking for Burrow now. Joe Burrow would sell tickets in Cincinnati, being a Southern Ohio youngster.
He sure would. You just think about how good that Ohio State quarterback Fields must be if Burrow couldn't beat him out and left because he knew he couldn't beat him out. You had Haskins there, too.
Burrow couldn't beat out Haskins. He was already gone when Fields got there. Burrow was at LSU last year.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Where did Fields come from?
Georgia. Big-time recruit. Couldn't get on the field last year very much, except in blowouts behind Jake Fromm. Jake Fromm, a good player.
Oh, yeah. But
he's playing Saturday, too.
He is. And, he has a chance to play on Sundays as well.
He does. I think you have to have a taste for him,
if we're going to examine this year, he's not in the league with Justin Fields.
Or Joe Burrow.
Or Joe Burrow.
He is not.
That is very, very true. I'll let you know this portion of the show is brought to you by Edwin Watts. Did you have fun at Edwin Watts the other week?
Did we have fun, Drew? Did we have fun?
We had a great time.
If
you're around Jay, you can have fun.
What was the most fun part?
Oh, me 271 on the drive monitor, probably.
271. Come on. Are you serious?
271, Drew? Kind of healed it a little bit, too.
Is that 271 feet or 271 yards? Jay's letting me know. Callaway's going to have a rep in the store tomorrow from 10 to 2. They're doing fittings and answering questions, and they got a great deal on Bushnell rangefinders. Now, I'm famous for saying, somebody ever asked me, I love giving yardage, I'll say, you're 97 yards out. And they'll go, come on. I go, Bushnell never lies. And Bushnell never lies, nor is it ever wrong. It's the best of all the rangefinders. I've said it forever. It may be a little bit more expensive, but it is worth it, and they've got great deals on them. They've also got the V4 rangefinders. They're down to $269.99, and Phantom GPS units are as low as $99.99. Plus, Pro V1, Pro V1Xs, and the AVX golf balls. That's when you get a little bit older. You still get that great quality of golf ball the Titleist has in their Pro V1s and Pro V1Xs, but their compression is a little different for slower swing speeds, and that's what happens when you get a little older. The AVX golf ball should be for you, $39.99. They've even marked the Ping G40, G410. Drivers, those things that hit the ball a mile and a half, he might get 271 on that computer with that G410. Those things are down $100. Go see the new store. Go say hello to Jay Hasselman. Check out all these things with all the new Bushnell rangefinders and all the deals on them for Christmas. Your place to go to make your man happy, or woman. That would be Edwin Watts Golf. Back in a minute, we'll talk National Football League with Russell Copeland. He's next on Sports Time with Wolo and Stats.
Take Sports 56 with you on your phone or tablet. Download our official Sports 56 app today.
If it's time for a new gun, rifle, or silencer, Tactical Guns and Gear in Collierville on Highway 72 is the best place to go. I promise they have the newest, most exciting selection of guns and silencers you could ever want. I don't care if you shoot for fun, hunt, or just need a gun for personal protection, Tactical Guns and Gear has the best selection of firearms around. The only one-stop silencer shop in Tennessee. In less than 10 minutes, they do all the paperwork. Take your photo, originate gun trust, take your prints electronically, and the best part, you never have to scan them again. Yes, silencers are legal. No special licensing, just a simple background check. Silencers don't make your firearms silent. They simply reduce noise for more enjoyable shooting, help protect against hearing loss, reduce recoil. It makes you more accurate. Best silencer place in the entire state of Tennessee, right here in Collierville. For all things guns and gear, ask for Jake or Jim at Tactical Guns and Gear on Highway 72 and tell them Eli says hi. Online at tacticalgunsandgear.com.
Did you learn your ABCs when you were a kid? Well, as a grown-up, it's time to learn your CBDs, as in CBD edibles, oil tincture, pain cream, and beauty products. All found at your CBD store. With 3 locations, Poplar Avenue, North Germantown Parkway, and Goodman Road East. You'll find all natural, organic, and non-GMO products. Need to learn more? Your CBD store has a knowledgeable and friendly staff that can answer questions, help with choices, and put you at ease about your CBDs. Your CBD store with 3 locations, Poplar Avenue, Cordova, and South Haven. Your CBD store, making it as easy for you as ABC CBD.
I'm here with the great Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Restaurant Shipping Department.
Thanks, Brett. We've been shipping our ribs all over the country now for decades from our USDA-inspected shipping kitchen in the Pinch District. We hand-cook our ribs in pits that Mr. Charlie built over charcoal, just like they do at the restaurant.
So what comes in a rib box?
We could do pork shoulder, we could do ribs, our sauce, seasoning, baked beans, coleslaw. We'll even throw in Pancho's cheese dip with our nacho boxes. We also put a bag of Rendezvous seasoned popcorn, heating instructions, some chef hats, some wet naps, and some other helpful tips from our kitchen. We ship our ribs overnight, exclusively FedEx. And we put them in nice packaging. We don't ever want to use styrofoam, so we use corrugated cardboard, actually 2 boxes that fit nice together. So the ribs get to you, your loved ones, or your clients in a safe, wholesome manner. Rendezvous ribs are perfect for out-of-town clients, customers, loved ones. We also ship ribs for any occasion.
Where do we order these great ribs?
You can go to www.hogsfly.com or give us a call at 1-888-464-7359.
Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous Restaurant in the alley since 1948.
Pop the top on your next party. 34 North Cocktails. Available in Memphis now. Great for football grove parties, around the hunting campfire, and when you get home, entertain friends. Pop a premium can of Barrel Thief. Tastes just like an old-fashioned Barrel Thief made with aged bourbon, bitters, a hint of orange, a touch of vanilla, 15% ABV. Then, for you vodka lovers, try Sneaky Pucker, a refreshing lemonade premium vodka cocktail, 12.5% ABV. Made with super premium vodka, lavender, simple syrup, and lemonade. Delicious and smooth. Let the party begin with 34 North Cocktails.
Country music star Scotty McCreery will be at this year's AutoZone Liberty Bowl, and you want to be there too. This is it. This is now. The American Idol winner will perform at the President's Gala on December 30th at the Peabody and at halftime of the AutoZone Liberty Bowl game on December 31st. Get your tickets today by calling 795-7700. The Tennessee Highway Safety Office reminds you that fans don't let fans drive drunk.
Now, more of Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
A little Chicago for you. Chicago was on the NBC Light the Christmas Tree thing.
Well, good for them. They're going to be on the big Fox tonight for the NFL tonight.
Are they really?
Yeah.
No, that's the Bears that are going to be on there.
It used to be your Bears.
No,
so you knifed them.
They are my Bears. By the way, we want to thank, because I don't think we brought this up, Vance Wahlberg was the guy.
Thank you to the text.
And I wasn't sure if it was Vance, so I actually just Googled. Inventor of the dribble drive basketball offense. Vance Wahlberg.
Oh, he did? Well,
it did.
Well, he is.
How about that?
At Google.
I thought that was cool.
They know it all, don't
That was cool.
I think Google's going to catch on. Y'all?
You know what happens if you Google a lot of NFL intelligence and a guy who played the game and loves the Tigers?
RC.
No.
That's what you get.
Yeah, that's right. RC Russell Copeland.
That's what you get.
RC Johnson. I don't know why.
Russell
Copeland. How are you, my friend?
Hey, Russell.
I'm doing well, guys. How you guys doing? I hope you had a great Thanksgiving, because I had a great Thanksgiving.
We did, Good. Russell, and the same to you. And I told you today in a text, happy holiday season to you and yours, and I mean that sincerely and appreciate you. And this weekend in the NFL, I mean, almost every game has some pretty serious implications, and it starts tonight, and I think it is a severe quarterback mismatch night. Dak Prescott against Mitchell Trubisky.
Well, you just mentioned it, guys. We are in the fourth quarter of the regular season, and there's so many games from this week until the next 3 weeks that will have playoff implications, and this is one. And let's start with the Dallas Cowboys. Dak Prescott has had a tremendous year. But when you look at this football team and you look at offensively and defensively as far as the talent, 6-6 simply is not going to get it. So when you look at Jerry's world and you look at Dallas this whole week in the past couple of weeks, it's about Jason Garrett's job. His job is definitely on the line, and we know that. I think his football team will definitely want to come out and play. They'll definitely play hard. But there's another team on the other side that has Superman. He has a cape. And we know who he is. It's Khalil Mack. Khalil Mack will be playing very hard. The defense will be playing hard. But Dave, I have to look at your offense. When I look at last week, Mitchell Trubisky and that offense played like expectations. He threw for over 300 yards. Anthony Miller had a breakout game.
140 yards.
140 yards, man, and it just was reminiscent when he was playing here for the Tigers. Playing number 2, Taylor Gabriel is out. He's going to get a lot of targets. I think they will build on this game. And when I look at it up and down and I look at what the Dallas Cowboys are facing, they have not beaten a team with a winning record. They may tie tonight because both of them are 6-6. But I tell you what, I'm going to go with your Bears tonight, playing at home, playing in a little bit cold weather, got a great defense. Dak Prescott has not performed in bad weather games. I'm going to take the Bears in an upset and will shake up the NFC as far as that.
And keep the Bears alive.
Definitely.
They actually could catch a wild card spot.
They could.
Thanks to Minnesota losing the other night.
It's must win for the Bears. Russell, you mentioned Anthony Miller in that game. And a week ago today, I'm driving to Davis Wade Stadium, Scott Field in Starkville, and I'm listening to the Bears and the Lions on this radio station in Octavia County, pulling into to where I was going to park. And like 3 consecutive plays in a row, Trubisky completed Anthony Miller. I swear, in my car, I said out loud, Eureka, the Bears have discovered Anthony Miller on Thanksgiving. It's about time, isn't it?
It definitely is. And I think you just have to look at guys this season. I think when, you look at Anthony, he had an outstanding rookie year as far as touchdowns, not had a whole lot of yardage, but this has just been an off year. Mitchell Trubisky got hurt. He simply could not get in the groove. Matt Nagy, the coach that was calling great plays last year, simply could not get his offense started. But it just takes one game. It just takes one offensive game and look at the game plan and be able to put it together. And what is a better time to put it together than the next 4 games? Anthony had a tremendous game. I think Mitchell Trubisky needed that confidence. I think he'll use that coming into this game. And I think the secondary for the Cowboys is a secondary that can be exploited.
The Bears' defense, though, from the first couple of weeks when it looked like it was impenetrable, has become very pedestrian. I don't know what has happened. Maybe you do. It is not the same. Now, they did lose a defensive lineman in Hicks. They lost Trevathan, who is a very good linebacker. So that they've lost 2 guys, but it's, you're an NFL team. You should be able to plug some of those guys in. What's happened to the Bear defense?
Dave, I think it's a combination of both, but I think when you look at Khalil Mack, when you lose your defensive tackle that's right there with you, that causes a lot of pressure, gets a lot of double teams, he can play the way he plays, and that is number 96, Akeem Hicks. And I think you also have to be able to look at the offense. From an offensive standpoint, we just mentioned that they had a lot of 3 and out. They have put their defense on the field pretty much the entire game. And I tell you what, guys, I don't care what type of defense you got. I don't care if you've got the Lawrence Taylors. You put too much pressure on your defense, eventually they're going to wear down, especially in today's offenses. So many spread offenses are putting a lot of points. Your offense has to be able to take some pressure off, and I think the Bears' offense has not been able to take pressure off of that defense.
Sunday afternoon, the Ravens, kind of the toast of the NFL right now. Most people, well, they're the betting favorite to win the Super Bowl in Las Vegas. They go on the road at Buffalo. Some wintry conditions for Lamar Jackson, a young quarterback for the Bills. What do you think about that game Sunday at noon on CBS?
Well, I definitely love what Lamar Jackson has been able to do from his maturation process from last year to this year. But I think what makes them also outstanding is that they have the number 1 overall running offense with Mark Ingram, and you got Gus Edwards, and you also have Justin Hill, who's the scat back that comes in. He's able to use both of his tight ends, so the offense is geared to fit him. But I think now he's going on the road with a good defense. The defense that the Buffalo Bills has, they are built to be able to stop the run. They play in Buffalo. It's cold. They're used to playing these tough games, and they have the number 3 overall defense. I like this matchup because I think overall the Bills have the personnel to be able to stuff the run and make Lamar Jackson have to beat them passing. I'm not saying he can't because he has 2 games where he's had perfect quarterback ratings, but I think that's the way that I would play him. I would put some type of spy and have someone to try to look at him, even though that spy may not be to keep up. But that's the way I think the Bills will play him. I'm going to go with another upset. I'm going to say the Bills at home will play good enough in a tough game to beat the Ravens.
It's funny. I agree with you on that. That was one of my things. I thought might be my shock. I think the Bills have a really good chance of winning this game. They are 6-point underdogs at home, and I think they got a good chance, like you just said, of winning the game. Before we talk any more games, there was a firing this week, which to me is classless when it comes in the middle of the season, especially to a guy who won 4 divisional titles for you, took you to the Super Bowl, took you to the championship game of your conference a couple of times, and that is Ron Rivera being let go by the Carolina Panthers. Your thoughts on the jettison of Ron Rivera?
Well, you have 4 games left, Dave, and you just explained exactly what Ron Rivera was able to do in his tenure. But I think there's no need to fire him right now. Your star quarterback, your franchise quarterback has been hurt. You've had a backup quarterback who's done okay. Keep him. What he means to those players, he is a player's coach. He talks to them not just about football. He talks about them on things that they can talk off the field. I listened to a couple of clips, and I saw some players, and they were sad. They were hurt because this is the type of atmosphere that Rivera has had. He has a family type of atmosphere, and to me, it was classless. But when you look at it, it's a business. I just feel like for that organization, they're not going to make the playoffs. I don't see what the purpose is to fire him with 4 games left.
Man, there are so many good games this week. Let's start, because there's 3 that just come to my mind that knock my socks off. Let's start with in New Orleans against San Francisco and Jimmy G.
2-10 and 2 teams.
I mean, that's about as good as it could get in Week 13.
Guaranteed Hall of Famer in Breeze, and probably, according to Dave, a Hall of Famer in Jimmy G.
He's not in already?
He probably should be put in now. Right, Russell.
Well, guys, I tell you what, you have two teams that are 10 and 2, and we, talked about the playoff implications. When you look at the Niners last week and they lost to Baltimore, they went from the number 1 seed to the number 5 seed.
Yeah.
And I'll kind of get into that. Number 5 seed with a great record, but you got the Dallas Cowboys who will win their division at 6-6. That's a mind boggler right there. But when I look at this matchup, this is a great matchup. Simply because New Orleans Saints have a defense, but it's an underrated defense. They get after the passer, they can stop the run. I think their weakness may be their cornerback a little bit in the secondary, but the Niners want to run the football. That's their MO. They want to run the football with their 3 backs. They want to run it with Mostert. They want to run it with Jeff Wilson. They want to run it with Breida and also Tevin Coleman. But I think the Saints playing at home going against the defense for the Niners are going to play zone defense. And Sean Payton is one of the best offensive callers in the National Football League. He'll put up a game plan. He'll have a short passing game. They have to get Alvin Kamara into the game at the same time with their other running backs. I like the Saints at home. The Saints play very good at home. I like their defense going up against it. I think the Niners lose their 2nd straight football game. Give me the Saints.
I can't disagree. All right, now another one. This is an AFC showdown. New England, Kansas City. This game is in New England. It's time for Patrick Mahomes to be the guy. They're the underdog in this game. It's only by a field goal. Brady's offense has really, really struggled. And if we're right about Buffalo beating Baltimore, and if Kansas City were able to knock off the Patriots, all 3 teams would end up being 9-3.
And Dave, this is the first time in a long time that the Patriots have had someone looking in their rearview mirror with the Buffalo Bills. Usually they are very comfortable in that division. But when I look at the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, I think he's getting healthy right now. But still, this Chiefs offense has not been the same explosive type of offense as they were last year. I think a little of that comes with their defense. Their defense is ranked toward the middle, toward the end of it. I think they have a lot of weapons. Of course, they'll spread the football around, but they're going against the number 1 pass defense in the Patriots, and the Patriots never lose at home. I think the big key is the Patriots offense with Tom Brady. Can they get some things going? He has lost a whole lot, guys. He's lost Gronkowski. They had Antonio Brown, which they desperately need. They cut Josh Gordon. They've lost Amendola, and they've lost Chris Hogan. He has to be able to get these young receivers in the game. I think what they're going to do, they're going to spread it out a little bit. I think they should run two of their running backs, get White out in the backfield, and also run with their other main back. I still like the Patriots. I think this is a game for Tom Brady to get those young guys and to get his short passing game going against a bad defense. I think overall the Patriots will get back to where we expect them to be and win this game at home against the Chiefs.
If they don't, I think you're right. If we're wrong and the Patriots lose again and you kind of see the grouchy, unhappy TB12 on the sideline, are we at the beginning of the end for the Patriots? And every time I brought this up, they've gone on and won about three more after that.
Well, at some point in time, Father Time does take over. When you look at Tom Brady, he is such a competitor. When you look at it, he's 41, 42 years of age, he does not have the physical capability to be able to take some young receivers or some receivers that we don't know anything about to be able to bring them up. These young receivers have to be able to get into the playbook. They have to be able to learn what he's trying to do because he does not have the physical arm strength to be able to get past some of the physical incapability that he has at 42 years old. But I still like them. I still like this football team simply because of their defense, and I think their defense can stop the Chiefs, and Tom Brady will get back on track.
He's the aging fastballer that now is beating you with his guile and his stuff.
Exactly. He's beating you with the mental game. And just looking at the game last week against the Texans, he's throwing the football in places. And Tom Brady is a typical NFL quarterback, a franchise quarterback. As a receiver, you have a certain amount of time to get to a spot. And he's throwing the football to spots. His wide receivers are either getting jammed or they simply do not have to get a release and speed up and slow down to get to the spot where he's trying to throw the football.
And I don't think he's to this point where, let's say, Peyton Manning was the last 2 or 3 games in the Denver Bronco uniform. He's not Willie Mays with the New York Mets.
Or where Eli was.
Or Johnny Unitas with San Diego.
He's not where Eli Manning is.
No.
He still has
No. Yeah. Last pro game for Russell Copeland, that's the Rams and Seattle in L.A. Seattle just always seems to figure out a way to win. It's pretty impressive. They're 10-2. The Rams, if they were to lose, that would really open up the door for the Bears if they were to continue to win. But the Rams are playing for a wild card spot. They're 7-5. How do you see that game?
The Rams are playing for a wild card spot, and they have been playing better the past couple of weeks. But when I just look at Sean McVay's offense, this offense is nowhere near where they were last year. And I think the main problem is the continuity from their offensive line. I love what the Seattle Seahawks has been able to do as far as rebuilding their defense. They lost a lot of their guys, the Legion of Boom, but they have that one guy. And that one guy is Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson has put his team on his back. If you look at him play a football game, he's never out of the game. He can run. He can make unbelievable throws. He's an outstanding leader, and they have a great running game. But for the first time in a lot of years, they have a lot of weapons outside. We talked about Josh Gordon being released from the Patriots. He's came up with some big catches the last 3-4 weeks. You look at Metcalf, the rookie from Ole Miss. He's came up with some big plays. And Tyler Lockett is one of the most underrated receivers. He comes up with big plays. I like Seattle to be able to push the Rams further back and pretty much maybe push them out of the playoff contention.
Russell, I saw every down DK Metcalf played at Ole Miss, and I wasn't scared of him being an NFL bust. But after Dante Moncrief really didn't flourish like I thought he would, and after Laquan didn't flourish like I thought he would, I was a little scared that DK may have just been a combine warrior. He's not. He's more than serviceable, and I think can be a superstar.
Well, I'll tell you what. I like A.J. Brown, with the Titans. I think he's a more polished receiver. Mm-hmm. But when I look at Metcalf, he's going to have to still be able to do some work. I look at him from the line of scrimmage, and I look at him how he does releases. He's just so big at 6'3", 230 pounds. I think he may need to lose a little bit of that muscle to get more fluid, but he has still come on more than I thought he would because he runs a 4.3. He's 6'3". So a lot of the times he will have position. He'll be able to get down the field. He just needs to work on a lot of the intangibles as far as how to stop and go, how to use his hips to come in and out of routes. He's a rookie, but I think he's further along than what I thought. I thought he pretty much was going to be a bust. It's still early, but he has came along and made some big plays.
He got too big, and I tell you, a running back that kind of turned into a workout room warrior, and he got big, and it made him to where he couldn't make anybody miss, and that was Trent Richardson.
Exactly. That's a nice assessment. And going back to Metcalf, when you look at him, you want to be able to be fluid. I mean, when you run a 40-yard dash, guys, you run a straight pattern. But in a National Football League, you very seldom just run a straight pattern. You're going to have to go against some bump and run. Guys may come down and collapse you a little bit. You have to have some wiggle in your hips, meaning that can you go from 0 to 60? Can you have a mid-range speed and then speed it up? Can you speed up the last 5 yards and come out of your break and come to the ball? Those are things to me where he's so stiff. He's stiff kind of. He needs to be able to work on that in the offseason and get some fluidity into his routes.
Why didn't Treadwell make it?
I think the injury really set him back a step or two. He was never the burner. He was never the crossing pattern like A.J. Brown has taken it to the house a couple of times this year and in college. He was never that. And then after the injury, I think it took a step out. He was more of a really kind of a possession guy, a pylon guy, back of the end zone guy, a first down marker guy. And
like Miller.
I think Anthony Miller in straight lines faster.
Well, when you look at Anthony Miller, just compare those two real fast. Anthony can play on the slot. He has a lot of jerky type of things. He's very fast, and he's faster than what he looks, and he comes in and out of breaks. When I look at Laquan Treadwell, you look at his speed, you look at him about 6'3". He's probably about 215, 220. David, if you remember back, I didn't think he was a first-round pick. I thought that was a huge stretch for me. I looked at how he played, but I looked at him as far as routes. He did not have great routes, and then he would do the 50-50 jump ball. But in the National Football League, guys, unless you are a 4'3", jumping 44-inch like a Randy Moss, you're not going to get and win all those jump balls. You have to be able to have some other things. You have to be able to create separation. And what I saw from Treadwell, he did not create any separation out of his break, and he could not get off the line of scrimmage.
Last thing for Russell Copeland, it's on the Tigers in Cincy. I know you go to all the games. Break down this championship game for me, Russell.
Man, what a great game last week. But right now the Tigers have history, right here. They've won 11 games. I think from a defensive standpoint for the Tigers, I think they have to be able to stop the running back for the Cincinnati Bearcats. I think if they can crowd the line of scrimmage and the secondary can be able to play man-to-man coverage and stop those two big receivers, I think will be good. From an offensive standpoint, I think we have to be able to play Gainwell a little bit outside and have Patrick Taylor to play in the backfield. Play both of those so we can be able to get Gainwell against that zero coverage and that man-to-man coverage. I think it'll be a tight football game, but from man-to-man and from the talent on this team, I like the Tigers to win another close one, probably about 9 or 10 points, but I got the Tigers at home.
He's our guy, Russell Copeland. Thank you, my friend.
Thank
and we'll
you,
talk to you next week.
Thank you, guys.
All right, we've already talked a little bit about the bird, the 24-hour bird from the commissary.
Gave the answer a couple times.
And it made me think about your cue. So what's the big cue for a six-pack of Germantown Commissary barbecue?
754-5540. In this time of year for a lot of catering for holiday parties, smoked hams, the turkeys at Thanksgiving, that turkey's coming up for the next round of holiday season. Germantown Commissary, Collierville Commissary, big cue of the day, 360-8255 at the First Bank phone line. We're doing all phones. You can call now. We've mentioned it a couple times. 353 Division I college basketball teams. Going into tonight's play, how many are undefeated and how many are undefeated from the AAC?
If you know those two little simple numbers, a six-pack of Germantown Commissary coming your way. We'll take your calls at 360-8255.
We've referenced it at least 3 times. Yep. How many undefeated teams in college basketball?
And how many in the American? I'll let you know the title sponsor for this hour of the program is Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch, and, of course, the new Genesis of Olive Branch. And I got it. I got the fever. I walked in there. I'm talking to my friends Chris True, and Piper was there, and there's John Birdside, David Richardson, and I looked at that G90. I went, man, what a car. I mean, like, you can't beat that car. And they said, go take it for a ride. Well, that was it. I was done. Had to have it. What a car. Best car I've ever owned. The little, turn on the little thing, your little fob, and open up the doors, and a little light comes down from the rear mirror, side mirror, and it's got the logo on both sides. It's unbelievable. That technology is unbelievable. It's so good. You get a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty on every new Genesis and, of course, every new Hyundai. Go see what I'm talking about at Service Beyond Compare. The perfect marriage of technology and of service. That's Homer Skelton Hyundai, and that is wonderful Genesis of Olive Branch. We'll get to your phone calls in 1 minute. When we come back to the other side, we'll answer this, and someone wins a six-pack from the commissary. Next on Sports Time with Wolo and Stats.
The Peter Edmiston Experience with C.J. Hurt. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10. Only on Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
Whether you're a casual golfer or an avid golfer, let Edwin Watts Golf Shops help you fill your wish list with the season's best deals in golf. Featuring special holiday offers from Bushnell. Save $70 on the Bushnell Hybrid, now only $329.99. And save $30 on the Bushnell Phantom GPS, now only $99.99. And while you're there, register to win free golf balls for a year. The Edwin Watts Golf Shops holiday sale is at our new location in the Ridgeway Trace Shopping Center. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee.
When you're in need of quality jeans, shirts, and boots, think Frontier Western Store in Olive Branch. Frontier has thousands of square feet of merchandising at everyday low prices. Tons of jeans by Carhartt, Wrangler, and Ariat. Whether you're after classic denim jeans, dungarees, or work pants, you'll find them among Frontier's amazing selection of stylish modern fits. Flame retardant jeans and shirts now available as well. Colder weather is on the way, and Frontier is prepared with overalls, coats, and fleece jackets. Women's Sherpa jackets by Simply Southern starting just $29.99. Don't forget the boots. Frontier boasts dozens and dozens of styles of boots, work, dress, or play. Come try on the latest boot trends as well as proven classics, Ariat, Durango, Dan Post, and many, many more. You are guaranteed to find your next favorite pair at Frontier. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, or shop online 24/7 at frontierwesternstore.com. Family owned and operated since 1967.
Pop Wigington has been in the restaurant business since the 70s and has now brought 3 generations of family favorites together under one roof at Pop's Comfort Kitchen, 2990 Kirby Whitten Parkway next to Kroger. Pop's takes you back to a simpler time when food and life was more wholesome. Settle down today for lunch or dinner at Pop's with daily specials like country fried steak, fried catfish, chicken and dumplings, or Pop's famous fried chicken livers, all served up with your choice of 23 fresh vegetables like field peas and snaps, seasoned green beans, sweet corn and turnip greens. Hungry for a sandwich? Check out the Chuck, a hand-patted cheeseburger between 2 grilled cheese buns topped with lettuce, tomato, diced onion, pickles, fried egg, and bacon. Or a half-pound flat iron steak sandwich served on Texas toast. Don't forget one of Grandma's homemade desserts like chess pie or banana pudding. Take comfort today at Pop's Comfort Kitchen, 2990 Kirby Whitten Parkway next to Kroger. Pop's Comfort Kitchen.
The Christmas cheer is in the air. Santa Claus is still alive and well. Gateway Tires is teaming up with Toys for Tots. We want to see some smiling, joyful faces on all the children this Christmas season. So talk it up, Toys for Tots, and spread the word and make a difference this year. Give 1 toy or 10. We are thrilled for your tremendous love and generosity this year in making a difference in a child's life. Drop off your Toys for Tots at Gateway Tires till December 20th. All DeSoto and Shelby, Memphis metro locations, and also Oakland and Atoka. Pop the top on your next party. 34 North Cocktails. Available in Memphis now. Great for football grove parties, around the hunting campfire, and when you get home, entertain friends. Pop a premium can of Barrel Thief. Tastes just like an old-fashioned Barrel Thief made with aged bourbon, bitters, a hint of orange, a touch of vanilla, 15% ABV. Then, for you vodka lovers, try Sneaky Pucker, a refreshing lemonade premium vodka cocktail, 12.5% ABV. Made with super premium vodka, lavender, simple syrup, and lemonade. Delicious and smooth. Let the party begin with 34 North Cocktails.
How would you like a chance to win house payments for a year? Go to Sports 56 WHBQ and enter to win in our Home for the Holidays contest. You could win mortgage or rent payments for a full year. That's right, get your home paid for an entire year. It's free to enter, so go to sports56whbq.com today. Enter now because it ends December 20th. It's the ultimate home court advantage. Home for the Holidays from Sports 56, 87.7 and 96.1.
Now, more of Sports Time with Wolo and Stats on Sports 56 and 87.7 FM. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Noiseworthy.
Final portion, hour number 2, we got to give something. Oh, I love doing that.
I do too.
Especially when I'm giving away Walker Taylor's barbecue because it's so darn good.
So
Six-pack on the way if you can tell us how many undefeateds there are in college basketball coming into tonight, and in particular, how many in the American Athletic Conference. Paul, you're up first. You got the first shot at it. Do you know the answer?
Was this for me, Dave?
Yeah, it's you.
Oh, that's Paul. Okay. 16 and 1.
That is correct.
16-1, and that one in the AAC is
SMU.
There you go.
For extra funds, you see how close you've been listening. If you've been, there are 2 in the SEC. Can you name them?
Ooh, no, I missed that one.
Okay, that's fine.
Florida?
No. Auburn and Arkansas.
Auburn, Arkansas. Okay.
You win, Paul. You win.
You got it.
We'll
put you on hold.
Don't talk yourself out of it. Take
you got it.
for an
You did a great job. Did a great
Thank you.
job.
Thank you, Paul. Appreciate you. And everybody else that tried to call. Thank you.
Yeah, we did. We had a whole bunch of people who, as soon as he said it, they knew because they went, boop.
Yep. Watch your sound effects. That could make another crunch time.
God.
Indiana, Maryland, Ohio State, the only 3 teams remaining undefeated from the Big Ten. Ohio State flat put it on Roy Williams last night.
They did.
Roy Williams waved the white flag. Did you see kind of the bomb squad lineup in at the end of the game, trying to send a message to his starters? He had one cat out there without his name on the back of the jersey.
So what did that thing end up? 7-7? It was 6-6 going into those finals.
What did Big Ten ACC challenge? Pretty square.
I think it was all square.
Yeah. Butler DePaul from the Big East. You watched your DePaul.
Yeah, it was good. But you know what? I'm glad.
Last night.
He's got it going, Dave Laddie.
Do they notice in Chicago?
I think they're getting bigger crowds.
Okay.
You know, it's a shame. When I was a kid, and they played in the old Chicago Stadium where the Bulls and Blackhawks played. Before they moved out to
Meyer had it rolling.
Yeah.
Ray Meyer.
Ray Meyer, and then Joey for a little bit, but
He did.
Ray in particular. Well, you had Mark Inquirer and Terry Cummings, and had a lot of great players.
Sure did. From the Atlantic Sun, Liberty. Hugh Freeze's impact on the basketball program, showing at Liberty.
Just ask Hugh; he'll tell you. He
used to coach basketball.
He did. The girls' basketball team was really good. Yeah. That's one thing. He wins at everything, didn't he? He really and truly did. That is 2 hours in the books. We are back in just a minute. Hour number 3. Greg Gaston on this championship Saturday. He's next on Sports Time with Wolo and Stats.
Pop Wigington has been in the restaurant business since the 70s and has now brought 3 generations of family favorites together under one roof at Pop's Comfort Kitchen, 2990 Kirby Whitten Parkway next to Kroger. Pop's takes you back to a simpler time when food and life was more wholesome. Settle down today for lunch or dinner at Pop's with daily specials like country fried steak, fried catfish, chicken and dumplings, or Pop's famous fried chicken livers, all served up with your choice of 23 fresh vegetables like field peas and snaps, seasoned green beans, sweet corn and turnip greens. Hungry for a sandwich? Check out the Chuck, a hand-patted cheeseburger between 2 grilled cheese buns topped with lettuce, tomato, diced onion, pickles, fried egg, and bacon. Or a half-pound flat iron steak sandwich served on Texas toast. Don't forget one of Grandma's homemade desserts like chess pie or banana pudding. Take comfort today at Pop's Comfort Kitchen, 2990 Kirby Whitten Parkway next to Kroger. Pop's Comfort Kitchen.
The construction reduction event is on at Wolf Chase Honda. Exciting changes are in the works and inventory must be reduced. Get the best deals right now on all remaining 2019 Hondas while they last. Every new car, every certified, every used car, price to go. Get pre-approved now at wolfchasehonda.com. Wolf Chase Honda is expanding and our prices are dropping. Don't miss these savings. Act now. This huge construction reduction event ends soon.
For the best lineup of quality, fuel-efficient, and fun-to-drive vehicles, get to Wolf Chase Honda and Wolf Chase Nissan. Over 1,000 new certified and pre-owned vehicles in one great location. Catch the savings now during our huge model year-end sales event. Score an amazing deal at Wolf Chase Honda and Wolf Chase Nissan and get to the game in style at Germantown Road and Highway 64. Family-owned since 1981.
Your nationally ranked Memphis Tigers are playing host to Cincinnati in the American Athletic Conference Football Championship game on Saturday at 2:30 p.m. This is the 3rd straight championship game appearance for the Tigers, but this time it's at home. Tickets start at just $20 and are available now at GoTigersGo.com or by calling 901-678-2331. Memphis versus Cincinnati on Saturday, December 7th at Liberty Bowl Memorial Stadium. Be there and help the Tigers win the AAC Championship and a trip to the Cotton Bowl.
Stripe up.
Need Christmas gifts for friends, family, even yourself? Now's the time to buy at Family Leisure. Buy one item for someone special, you get the second for yourself at half off. Pool tables as low as $14.99. Hot tubs as low as $1,400. Arcades as low as $9.99. Massage chairs, you can get one as low as $6.99. There's so much to choose from now through Christmas Eve. Get your Christmas shopping done at Family Leisure, Whitten Road and I-40, where family fun and the holidays all come together.
Did you learn your ABCs when you were a kid? Well, as a grown-up, it's time to learn your CBDs, as in CBD edibles, oil tincture, pain cream, and beauty products. All found at your CBD store, with 3 locations: Poplar Avenue, North Germantown Parkway, and Goodman Road East. You'll find all natural, organic, and non-GMO products. Need to learn more? Your CBD store has a knowledgeable and friendly staff that can answer questions, help with choices, and put you at ease about your CBDs. Your CBD store, with 3 locations: Poplar Avenue, Cordova, and South Haven. Your CBD store, making it as easy for you as ABC CBD.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM, 96.1, and 87.7 FM, as well as online around the world at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere on your phone or tablet by downloading the Sports 56 app, and at home, tell Alexa or Google to play Sports 56. If it's happening in the world of sports, we've got it covered. Wherever you are, stay tuned to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7. We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Welcome back to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Wolosian and Brad Norsworthy.
We talk Tiger football next with Greg Gaston, co-host of Sports 56 Middays, alongside Eli Savoy. You hear him every day on these airwaves. This hour brought to you on these airwaves every day by DeSoto Auto Sales. They specialize in late model cars with low mileage, very high standards at DeSoto Auto Sales down on Goodman Road, 5704 Goodman Road. To be exact, all the cars are test-driven, checked out head to toe, and unlimited inventory at DeSoto Auto Sales. Every make, every model. If it's not on the lot, they'll go out and find it for you. Down home, courteous employees, great atmosphere, no high-pressure sales. Check them out online at DeSotoAutoSales.com. They want you to have the ultimate car experience. Exactly what is that? They care about your time. They know we're living in a world today that time matters. So they want you to walk in, test drive your car, deal with your sales rep, credit approved, paperwork done. You're gone in 45 minutes. DeSotoAutoSales.com, 5704 Goodman Road, 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience at DeSoto Auto Sales.
We've been around this market a long time, you and me. We've seen a lot of big moments. Greg Gaston, too, who he's been here 20 years now, and minimum, and
24.
We've seen major games and moments and things that have changed the way the whole landscape goes. This Saturday is one of those seminal moments. It's really one of
biggest
those.
game in program
I don't know about Gaston. I don't know about you, but I am actually excited about this.
I'm terribly
It's the kind
excited.
of thing where I'm
can't wait till
not
Saturday.
sure I'm going to sleep good Friday night. I am really psyched. Greg Gaston's going to be on the sideline in the booth.
I know
to begin the
Greg's
game.
excited.
Where are you at with this thing?
Why wouldn't you assume that I would be as excited as you are? I know, Wolo, you've been calling games for the Tigers for a long time, and I'm kind of new to the broadcast team. But man, oh man, am I excited!
This is great.
You're absolutely right. You're talking about one of the biggest moments in a season of big moments for Tigers football, and that certainly ranks up there with some of the great moments we've had in sports history in Memphis. So yeah, I am fired up. It's a really strange situation, as you guys know, going back-to-back weeks against the same opponent.
Very. And Greg, a little bit in Dave's defense, it hadn't always been 2 conference championships, kind of like it's been the last few years. And you this year, first year on the crew, getting ready to maybe land in a Cotton Bowl. My first year at Ole Miss in 2008, we went to the Cotton Bowl game. And that day at the Cotton Bowl Stadium, Gary Darby, nicely as a friend, told me, he goes, it's not like this every year. He said, we don't always end up at the Cotton Bowl on New Year's Day. And kind of for you, certainly not new in town, seasoned vet in town, but newbie to the crew. And maybe you brought the good magic the first year, Greg.
I wouldn't go that far, but I remember you, Brett, telling me about your experience at the Cotton Bowl and how much you've treasured that over the years. So no, you certainly don't look at this and go, well, especially with obviously the situation occurring, the rumors and the speculation with Mike, but you don't assume anything. You don't assume that you'll ever get back there. So this is an opportunity, but you have to take care of business. And guys, just like it was last Friday, I think this is going to be a really tough challenge once again for the Tigers.
Rock'em sock'em game, and you're right about it. I never take any of this for granted. Man, it can all go away in a blink of an eye. It's why when I go to every game, I try to treat every one of them like I'm walking into the Rose Bowl because, man, you just don't know what next year and the next game or the next day in sports or in life can bring you.
Exactly. And going back-to-back with the same opponent, you have two coaches who built their game plan before the first go-around and have to revise that game plan for the second go-around because you're not going to change your stripes. We understand that. But you're not going to throw the same exact stuff out at the opponent because they'll be ready for it. So expect wrinkles, expect a lot of changes. We'll see what Cincinnati does with their quarterback. But again, I think you're going to see a very physical, competitive game like you had the last time. But this is for all the marbles. And like you said, guys, the Cotton Bowl doesn't come around every year. So to get this opportunity, having the home game, having the home crowd behind you, knowing that Mike's record at home at the Liberty Bowl has been awesome, you hope that you can take advantage of it. But last week, you won the turnover battle. You had the kickoff return for the touchdown. And still, it was a battle down to the end.
You are going to see a new quarterback. Even Cincinnati's new depth chart has him as number one. Dan Horde said he's practicing. We're going to see Desmond Ridder instead of Ben Bryant. So we know that's the case. It is interesting. In meeting with the coaches today, they talked about how you can't just go by that one game. You've got to go by the game plan that they made last week. Yes, you make adjustments off of it, but you got to go by the body of work, by the trends that you've seen all year long. In the case of Cincinnati, the good news is they actually already prepared for the other kid, and then Ben Bryant was the surprise. So they know what they're going to get with Ridder.
Yeah, and that's a great point, Wolo. You can't look at the last few games he played before missing the Memphis game and say, well, he was a little banged up, he wasn't throwing the ball as well. You have to look at the complete body of work and assume that he's 100%. Assume that he's going to be at the top of his game. Because if you don't, you're in trouble. And we know Ridder at the top of his game can do some things with his arm. He threw 17 touchdown passes, had 8 picks, but he could also do it with his legs. And he rushed for nearly 500 yards. So you're getting a more multi-dimensional quarterback than you did with the freshman last weak in Ben Bryant.
Yeah, last week, Greg, I think the game last Friday will be very different from the game this Saturday. Not the least of which the stakes, but Dan Horde told us, almost a complete different game plan the Tigers defense will have to install.
Look, we saw it earlier in the year when the Tigers went up against the dual threat quarterbacks and they had some issues with containment, but I thought they got better as the year progressed when they played that type of quarterback. And that's what you're going to face with Ridder. And I wouldn't be surprised if Fickle mixes them up a little bit. Maybe you could see Bryant come out there who threw the ball so well against Memphis and kind of mix it up. But yeah, you have to change. Again, you can't change who you are, but you can certainly change your approach to this particular game. And that also is a positive for Memphis because what we saw out there, and we saw the flea flicker for the touchdown, but Mike has a bag of those things. So expect everything to be laid out there. What else do you have to lose here? This is for the trip to the Cotton Bowl. Both teams are going bowling. This is for a championship. So you're going to lay it all out there on the line.
I think you're right. I think Memphis did get better against the running quarterbacks. And I'm going to use this as evidence, piece of evidence A. Who is the best quarterback in the league, according to the way they voted yesterday?
Youngster at
Malcolm Perry.
Navy, Perry.
Malcolm Perry. How did Malcolm Perry fare against that Memphis defense? Memphis did a pretty good job with that.
Especially from first quarter on.
So Memphis did a better job with those running quarterbacks. And again, I'll remind you, the game plan for that kid was in last week. They had to adjust when he didn't play. So they do have a lot of the elements that would be in there. You said something a little bit earlier about, the distractions, and I started the show with that today because, like I've said, we've had our meetings today, and you would not know there's any kind of anything going on around Mike Norvell other than game planning for this football game. It's just amazing to me how he can focus and he is just dialed in. And I do remember that was sort of the same way with Fuente. Now, Fuente, the last couple of weeks he was here, was a little bit different. He was a little bit more distant than he had been because he knew. He was trying to figure out who he was going to take with him. And I think Mike's been a little bit different in that regard. Not today, but the last couple of weeks. Today, you could not tell. And I will say this about Justin. Even though there was that distance, that final game, even when they're crawling that thing against SMU on ESPN, they killed them. They took care of business that day, and I don't think that'll be a distraction in this game.
Well, first of all, he does an amazing job in staying true to the mission, and those players follow his lead. They know they have a championship on the line. They know they have a trip to the Cotton Bowl. The players, although we can't sit here and speculate what's going through every individual player's minds, but they're not stupid. They read things. They're social media, so they hear the rumors. But I can guarantee you this: they are not going to allow something that probably will happen, but we're not guaranteed, affect the way they come out and play Saturday with so much on the line. That will not happen. There is no way, at least in my opinion, that they are going to allow all this hard work, everything they've done to get to this point, on speculation. And even if you really feel in the heart of your hearts that you're going to lose that coach, I don't see how it will affect the guys. Once they get in between those lines, once the kickoff takes place to start the game, it's all about football, and the better team will win.
That's it. It will be about football at 2:30 Saturday. And most of this week, of course, we've had to handle the coaching carousel questions. But, Greg, when it's come down to the Tigers and the AAC championship game, I've wanted to keep it on football for these Tiger fans that have been so loyal, that were out there during tough times and now are enjoying a continued period of really great times.
Yeah, it's tough. You know, we on middays certainly went down the road of the speculation and all that, but tried to minimize it, like you said, Brett, and concentrate on the game. Of course, we had Mike on today, and I'm sure there's probably people saying, "Hey, why didn't you ask him if he's going to Florida State?" You know, those things don't happen. But no. The thing is, I was Bradley game. That was Tuesday? Mm-hmm. Tuesday night, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The basketball game. Yep. Okay. I must have been tracked down by, I would say, six to 10 people, different people, saying, "Greg, why are people talking so much about this? Why aren't they talking more about the game and this historical season, 11 wins, and a chance to do something they've never done before, go to the best bowl game they've ever been to?" And I said, I completely understand where you guys are coming from, but in especially in the social media world, things get out there, and some people are curious about that too. So you try to do your due diligence and address it, but you try not to go heavy on something that, again, to this point, is still speculation.
Well, that's really tricky, and I'll tell you why. Even Mike said that today. When I asked him about the distractions, he basically said, "You know, we're tunneled in. We're focused in. The thing that really did get him was that he thinks this talk has taken away from selling tickets. They've sold 30,000 tickets as of early this afternoon. They're hoping they can get to 40. They wanted originally to break 45,000. That's the record for a championship game that UCF was able to draw either last year or the year before that. And so, I think they're a little disappointed that there was so much emphasis put on that. What I kind of wanted to say, but I didn't, was, well, you could have put an end to that if you just said you weren't going anywhere. But you're not going to say that if you're going somewhere. So there really is no way around it.
Yeah, and that's a great point about tickets. Let me jump in on that subject, because your point is well taken. People have to understand that by Mike not – and the worst thing is when the coach comes out and says, "I am the coach of this university," whatever, fill in the blank, what university, and then 2 days later he's gone. Mike did not say that. So, again, it's more fuel for the fire that he's going to take a job when it's all said and done. But I'm glad he didn't go out and just say, "Yeah, I'm the head coach of the Tigers." But I think that's pretty shallow on a Tigers fan who's in the midst of enjoying this renaissance of football and really the greatest year that they've ever had, to say, and I'm not saying that this is happening, but with the ticket sales where they are now, people say, "You know what? He's leaving anyway. I'm not going to go to the game. That would be absolutely ridiculous.
Very
I mean, enjoy it right now. Let's
sure.
go back to what we started with, right? It doesn't happen all the time. Enjoy it. Get out there and support the team. But I'll tell you what, in my opinion, since we are now past Thanksgiving weekend, and we are still several weeks away from Christmas, to me, the people you see out there on Saturday, that's the Tiger Legion. That's the true Legion. So if you're getting 40, you got a 40,000, that's 40,000 people that are diehards, because I don't understand how a diehard would not show up to watch this game with all the importance of it riding on a win on Saturday.
Biggest game ever, isn't it?
I think so. With what's at stake, with everything that's going on, the chance to hoist the championship trophy, not just the Western Division trophy, I got to think so. Wolo, do you agree?
Guys, every week it's been the biggest game. Seriously, and I'm not being facetious. I'm just telling it like it. I'm telling it like it is. The biggest game going into that game day Saturday was that game against SMU. And then when you won that to keep everything going, the next biggest game was the game against Houston. And then to win the West again, because here's Navy and Houston and everybody else still pressing you. You had to beat Cincinnati, and then you did that, and now you got to beat Cincinnati again, and then you're going to play, who knows, maybe Alabama in the Cotton Bowl. That will become the biggest game. So
it feels like it's been an elimination every week, right? It feels like it's been an elimination week every week.
And how's this? I'm going to say this to you. I think Memphis has played in those pressure-packed games. I'm not sure Cincinnati has, and the reason I say that is because last week they didn't have to win. They knew they were in the championship game. Now they have to win if they want a chance to go to the Cotton Bowl, if they want to win the conference championship. So let's see how they deal with that pressure.
That's a good point. Memphis has had to win. Now, obviously, last week, if they had lost, if Navy had lost, they would be in. But we know that Navy won. But Memphis had to pretty much win every week, whereas Cincinnati had already clinched. That's an interesting point, Wolo. Plus, again, Cincinnati has to pack it all up, get back on a plane, come to Memphis again, do it all over. If that's not an advantage for Memphis, I don't know what is.
And Cincinnati can win, and they're not guaranteed Cotton Bowl.
Nope.
The Tigers pretty much are a certainty.
No, in fact, maybe Memphis gets the majority of the calls because the conference stands to lose if Memphis doesn't go to the Cotton Bowl and win here. And let's just say Boise State beats Hawaii 42-0.
Mm-hmm.
Is the committee going to go, wait, we're gonna place Boise ahead of Cincinnati? Even though I don't think they should, because Cincinnati's 2 losses will have been to Ohio State, number 1 in their poll, and Memphis, which was ranked 16th in their poll, and then beat them. So that's a much better win than Boise's over Hawaii. I think either way they should be in, but there's no guarantee. The only guarantee is for the conference to have a representative in the Cotton Bowl is for Memphis to win.
Well, here's the thing, guys. I mean, right now, if I'm not mistaken, Brett, correct me if I'm wrong, Boise is still ahead of Cincinnati.
They
correct?
are. Yes, they are.
They are. So
2 behind the
if
Tigers.
Boise, right? But so beating Memphis, if they won that game, you would think that would jump them over Boise. Wolo's point was, well, how about if Boise goes out there and just absolutely hammers Hawaii, who I think has 9 wins? I don't know what the committee would do. It's kind of similar to the situation with Baylor and Oklahoma versus Utah. Utah's ahead of both of them, and they're playing at number 13 Oregon? Well, what happens with the Baylor-Oklahoma winner? They beat a better team as far as the standings are concerned. So does that mean they jump Utah? So who knows what goes on with the committee? But we do know this, as you guys said. All Memphis has to do is win. They win the game, there's not even a discussion. They are the group of 5 representatives. They're going to the Cotton Bowl.
Right, that's it. And it would behoove the conference to give Memphis the calls. I'm kidding when I say that.
We know that never happens. Well,
it hasn't. Never. It has never happened in the past. I can promise you that. Look at the way they got jobbed. How in the world is, and I have all the respect in the world for Ken Niumatalolo. I really do. But how in the world does he beat out Mike for Coach of the Year? How is Brady White the 3rd best quarterback in this league?
My theory on Niumatalolo is he got the benefit this year for putting out the fire he started last year.
Absolutely, Brett. You hit it on the head. And so tomorrow on our show on midday, the voice of the Naval Academy, Steve Medhurst, is a good friend of mine. I want to ask him that directly. Do you think now he may go back and say, "Well, look, Greg, look at this the year they had last year. That shouldn't matter.
It shouldn't have happened."
Wait a second.
Matter.
Who was the coach last year when it occurred?
Exactly. There's a common denominator here.
Exactly. And you can't just assume because Memphis was predicted to win more games and maybe win the West Division. What they did was they went out there and they did that.
That's
accomplishing it and expecting them to accomplish it are two different things. That's ludicrous how Mike doesn't win the Coach of the Year. And don't get me started with some of the others.
Every Coach of the Year should not be kind of the ragamuffin, rags to riches story. Sometimes if you're the best and you answer it and you go out there week to week, then you get it.
Well, it's crazy.
Right.
I mentioned Brady White, the third quarterback. That's a joke.
Laughable.
Not just that, but how's this?
Laughable, he's not first.
And Mike was trying to make a point, and he was saying this flippantly, so don't take him as being serious here. But he said, wait a second, we lost one conference game this year, and we have one player on the first team all-conference. One, other than the kicker and the special teams. One, Kenny Gainwell.
Right.
He goes, I must have been a heck of a coach, even though I didn't win Coach of the Year. I must be a heck of a coach if I could do that with only one guy on the first team all-conference.
That's talented.
Well, they obviously, Memphis did it with smoke and mirrors, right?
No, they pounded people.
I mean, it wasn't the players and their coach, obviously.
I think it's the coaches that make the vote. So you can't blame the commissioner. You can't blame the media. This one is on petty coaches, apparently, and they like Ken Niumatalolo, and they must not like Mike as well because he beats the heck out of him.
Greg, let's blame them all, and then that way we got the right one. You want to do that? Thanks, man.
Why not, right?
Thank you, Greg Gaston. We appreciate it.
You're welcome, guys. Thank you.
You got it. See you Saturday.
That is Greg Gaston, who will be on the sidelines on the broadcast on Saturday for this championship game. He'll actually be on the Eflin Insurance Group microphone. How about that? And this portion of the show is brought to you by Eflin Insurance. This is a good guy, Matt Eflin. He's been in the business about 20 years, straight from school, right to work. Great family, great business that he's built. It's all over town. They've got offices all over town. Main one is in Bartlett, right there on 8099 Stage Hills Boulevard. One of the reasons for his success, his approach. He evaluates each individual's one-on-one needs. That's what he is. Sits down with you and he'll talk to you. He'll talk to you about your personal insurance, family, health, life, whatever that may be. He asks you about what you foresee in the future, what you think you really need to protect, finds the products, and you're protected. Same thing with business. Not everybody does business insurance or personal insurance. He does. Sits you down. Asks you for a forecast on where your business will be in 5 years, in 10 years. What's the most important thing that you must protect? He finds the product, and voila, you're protected. It's a real secure feeling. If you'd like it, call 757-2315. 757-2315. You call, you'll get the personalized service, he'll give you quotes, and you'll feel very, very good about that. That is the Eflin Insurance Group. Let's take a call on the First Bank phone lines very quickly before we take a quick time out.
Hey, George.
Hey, George.
Hey, guys. I will grant you that this upcoming game is the most important game in our lifetimes or our grown-up lifetimes. But I have to wonder how important that last season, that final season game was in 1963. I mean, you remember, or you think back and remember what you've been told or read, that we were expecting. We rejected the bowl offer we got that year because we were expecting an offer from the Gator Bowl, and it never came. But, I mean, how important would that have been if we had gone to the Gator Bowl?
Very true, George. And I think if you've ever listened to either one of us, we want to be very respectful and reverential of the past. But I think in your question, therein lies the answer. 1963.
A long time ago.
Long time ago.
Long time ago.
And I don't like being that guy because I think people know, heck, there's times I'd almost rather talk about the 1947 World Series than I had the one played 8 weeks ago.
Well,
but
I think every era has important moments.
And I hope you understand, George. I'm saying that respectfully. I really am. But 56 years ago,
here's
different world.
What I think, it is a different world now. This is the most important game now, and maybe for the survival of the football program, because you are becoming big league, and you have a chance to keep survival if indeed there is another.
And I think George was saying that could have been that big of a telltale sign for then if they'd have gotten into that bowl and accepted it.
Possibly.
Who knows what that would have launched in the 60s. And again, respectful of that.
In the 60s, there were that 63 and that 0-0 tie against a ranked Ole Miss team. That's a big moment in Tiger football history.
And
I hate to say it, but
I know
that New Orleans Bowl that D'Angelo Williams came on and talked about in the postgame show after the game last Friday. That was a big moment for this football team.
For sure.
That was the first time Memphis played in a bowl in 30 years.
And
so there are big moments.
optimism.
This clearly is the biggest moment, though, in a long, long time, because this really puts you in line. If there is another shifting of the tides, you are one of the big boys. George, that was an excellent call. We do appreciate it. We got to take a break. Back in a minute, we'll talk some college hoops with Blake Lovell. He's next on Sports Time with Wolo and Stats.
Sports 56 now has 2 FM homes. You can now find real sports talk on 96.1 as well as 87.7 on your FM dial.
Hi, this is John Conway with Conway Services. When was the last time you had your heating system tuned up? Did you know your heating system can lose up to 5% efficiency every year it skips a tune-up? Why compromise your family's comfort? Good news, it's heating system tune-up time at Conway Services. Schedule your heating system tune-up today for just $57. Not only will you save big, but we'll also include a Google Home Mini absolutely free while supplies last. That's right, get Conway Services 16-point Energy Saver Super Tune-up on your heating system for only $57 and get a Google Home Mini absolutely free. The experts at Conway Services will make sure your heating system is ready for those cold winter nights, all for only $57, and we'll include a Google Home Mini absolutely free. Why trust your comfort to anyone else? Stay warm and stay connected. So call Conway Services, the Mid-South's premier heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric service company at 384-3511. That's 384-3511.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
Napa know-how.
Right now, a 5-quart jug of Napa Full Synthetic Motor Oil and a Platinum Filter is just $23.98. That's a great deal for a great oil, which is another reason why this is the most wonderful time of the year. That's Napa Full Synthetic Oil and a Platinum Filter for $23.98. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
General States pricing. Sales prices do not include applicable state, local taxes, or recycling fees. While supplies last. Offer ends 12/15/19.
Are you overworked and underpaid in that employment rut with no promotion in sight, or did you just lose your job? Then you need to contact the experts at Pro Resume. Go to ProResume.biz or call 685-1950, the fastest way to a new job.
Do you suffer from pain, stress, anxiety, depression, PTSD, arthritis, and multiple sclerosis? You want an all-natural way to manage these conditions. Hempville is unlike any CBD store you've ever seen. It's not a one-size-or-brand-fits-all. Hempville has a variety of CBD applications and brand names. They have a well-trained professional staff to help educate you on CBD and what application is best for your individual needs. Hempville has 2 locations to serve you. South Haven at 562 Goodman Road East and Oxford at 1801 Jackson Avenue West. Hempville, where your relief is their mission.
Country music star Scotty McCreery will be at this year's AutoZone Liberty Bowl, and you want to be there too. This is it. This is now. The American Idol winner will perform at the President's Gala on December 30th at the Peabody and at halftime of the AutoZone Liberty Bowl game on December 31st. Get your tickets today by calling 795-7700. The Tennessee Highway Safety Office reminds you that fans don't let fans drive drunk.
It Chapter 2, Pennywise is back. Tune in to Johnny Radio's Happy Hour, Monday through Friday, 1 to 3, for a chance to win It Chapter 2. The Losers Club reunites after 3 decades to face their deepest fears again in It Chapter 2 and destroy Pennywise once and for all. It Chapter 2. Win the digital movie now with Johnny Radio on Sports 56, 87.7 and 96.1 FM.
Welcome back to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Wolosian and Brad Norsworthy.
Like a level from Clutch Point app and Blue Ribbon Magazine. I'll talk some college hoops with us here in a minute. It's brought to you in part by Dinstall's. Is there a sweeter way than Dinstall's to say, here's Memphis. If you've got a family member, Mrs. Town, he's homesick or she's homesick, and you're sending her a college care package, or you're just sending your favorite aunt who moved away a little bit of Memphis. You're going to send Cashew Crunch. You're going to send some chocolate turtlettes. You're going to send some Heavenly Hash. You're going to send something from Dinstall's because that's what it's the best candy in the world, in my opinion, but it is certainly the signature candy of all of Memphis and has been for 115 years. And they make it easy for you to get. You can go Laurelwood. That's where I'm at. That store's so convenient right there at Poplar and just pretty much Grove Park. Or you can go where they make the candy on Pleasant View, or you can go down Poplar further. You can go to Germantown Road right across from the hospital. Or you can now go all the way down Poplar to Collierville. That store's doing quite well, thank you very much. 4 places now to get the candy that is symbolic of this city and send it wherever you want to. They'll do it for you. By the way, if you want to make a Christmas gift for a corporation or something, they'll do logos in chocolate. You can't beat Dinstall's. Blake Lovell joins us now, and we were talking about this. There's 16 undefeateds. But is there really any super team in college basketball this year that you could say right now, definitively, they're going to win the national championship?
And if it is, it's probably not among the undefeateds, Blake.
Yeah, no, it's true, guys. I don't think there is a team you're looking at and saying, "Wow, Team A is much better than everyone else." I thought going into this season, it felt like a year. Well, obviously we couldn't predict some of these upsets, but it did feel like a year where you looked around and said, "Man, there's a bunch of potentially really, really good teams," but you didn't really look around and say that team has a chance to be, 37-0 Kentucky or whatever. Or Duke's team from last year where you had those, the big three that they had. It just doesn't seem like you have those kind of teams this year, but that also, in turn, makes it a lot more exciting because you don't really know what's going to happen on a nightly basis.
I think Mark Turgeon's club at Maryland really, really good. If they hadn't lost their post play, he made a good decision to go to the NBA. It's always good to take $10 million. But Maryland finally, in every year, Blake, in this ACC Big Ten Challenge, I will see that game and go, what's Maryland doing playing another ACC team in the ACC? They're in the Big Ten, and they're finally getting more acclimated to it. Turgeon can coach.
Yeah, he can, and I mean, we remember back when he, just kind of his trajectory of his career. He was at A&M for 4 seasons, I think, and I think a lot of people at this point probably forget just really what he did at Wichita State before that. I mean, kind of, I guess, sort of laid the groundwork a bit, some of those seasons there, but he knows what he's doing, and, it's like you say, you think about it and you want to keep saying, man, Mark Turgeon is really, one of the best teams in the ACC and all that. It's just you have to really kind of go back sometimes and say, well, remember they're in the Big Ten. No, they're just good on both sides. I mean, really, when you look at it, it's not like there's just one thing they do well, and that's why they're sitting here. And, they play really good on offense. They play really consistent on defense, and they're good at making people, take bad shots, and they're going to keep doing that. They've just done a really good job on that side of the court. They're really good, and like you said, you can put them right there in that mix when we talk about teams like Louisville, Ohio State, teams like that who haven't lost yet and seem to be the teams that sort of are ahead of the pack right now.
If we asked you who the best league was, you would have probably said one of these two leagues, the Big Ten or the ACC. And I think this challenge ended up even, didn't it, 500?
Yeah, I mean, these two, I guess it's a situation really, like you say, where you look at the top of these two conferences, and that if you're looking for a national champion, you're probably looking at one of these two conferences and saying, okay, I feel pretty good about picking 1, 2, 3 maybe from these two conferences. You can go a little bit deeper on some of these, but 1 through 3, you feel pretty good about saying that's a national title contender. Now, we look at the Big 12, and Kansas is still going to be there. Baylor's going to be up there at the top. But it's just these two conferences, and I'd still probably lean on the ACC maybe a bit more, just because we know what we're going to get out of North Carolina. We know what we're going to get out of Duke once we get to March. Maybe they haven't looked great at times thus far, but I think they'll eventually get things together and start kind of looking like the teams we usually see.
Blake, it's kind of been thematic the last few years in the league. Commissioner Greg Sankey and the athletics directors at each school, they wanted to get it better. I can't remember a time where I think the SEC is deeper in coaching, and I've said this for a couple years now. If you went place by place, school by school, team by team, basketball would win at a lot of these places with better coaches than the football. Now, we got 3 places to fill out in football, and that could change, but you go through it, and the basketball coach really holds himself up pretty well in comparison to, in the SEC, the sport, football.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's, we were talking about this, I think, a couple of years ago, and I have to pull the stats up now with some of these new guys that are here, but, just all the different SEC coaches that have been to a Sweet 16, the Elite Eight, the Final Four, have had teams that have played for a national championship. It's something you've got to have if you want to get your league to a point to where you consider it among the best in the country. That's what you got to have. You've got to start at the top, and it does start with the league. And the league made its step and said, okay, we're going to make this commitment. So then it goes down to, okay, well, now it's up to the schools to make the commitment in terms of coaching. And we've seen that everywhere. I mean, really, top to bottom, 1 through 14, we've seen that commitment. And for guys that haven't been able to win to that level in recent years, there have been changes made. And that's just sort of the way it is now in the SEC. The stakes, are as high as they've ever been, especially when you consider all the stuff that ties into it with the SEC network, all the exposure that the league has. And again, everything they put into it, it's never, to me, going to be a situation where, yes, there may be some up and down years in terms of quality. I think this year, to be honest with you, could be one of those years. I don't know that the SEC is as strong top to bottom as it was a year ago, but you're never going to see the league go back in terms of saying, okay, we're going to take a step back, maybe get back to being in the middle of the pack when it comes to conferences. It's just not going to happen anymore.
The Georgetown story, which I thought was going to be a good one this year. Patrick Ewing looks like he's really starting to get comfortable coaching. He's got some pretty good players in there, and they start to play together, and then all of a sudden 3 or 4 of them are gone, 2 with a burglary charge, 1 with a sexual assault, the other a point guard that just left the team. We don't know what was going on with that. Now they had a top recruit that decommitted today because of all the troubles that they are having. What's the story with Patrick Ewing and the Hoyas?
Yeah, it's like you said, it's one where you start the season and you have an entirely different discussion. And now we're sitting here having a discussion that is much bigger than their season, of course, in terms of all these different things. And when they hired him, it was a situation where, look, I mean, it was one where it obviously made sense. I mean, it was someone with deep ties to the program. You weren't going to find someone in terms of just the face of the program. Everyone knows Patrick Ewing. Everyone knows that, the connection with Georgetown and all that. And this was, like you said, this was a year where, they had their start to where you felt like this was a team that had potential to be pretty good. And like we say, you see how they started the season. It just seemed like they were making a big step in the right direction. After a couple of years of building, well, now they're officially there, but now it's like, well, where do they go from here? It's like, and you said it too, it's not really just the situation with the players that were on this particular team. It's how does this affect recruiting? We've already seen it with the one kid decommitting, and, that's just where, that's the way it is now in terms of when you see stuff like this happen, it's going to have a ripple effect, and you do kind of wonder what's next for that program.
If we turn our attention to the American Athletic Conference, SMU might be a surprise. I don't know if they've really won a game of total major consequence, but they have yet to lose a game. Memphis has only lost 1. We know there's a new coach at Cincinnati. Houston is always going to be a team that you got to worry about. What is your long-range view of the American?
Well, I'll tell you, and you always hear this, when you go into a season, talking to some of the coaches in that league this summer, we're used to it. When you talk to coaches, everyone wants to think that their league is as tough as can be. It's one of the best in the country and all that. And so when coaches say that, a lot of people just have a tendency to go, okay, well, of course they're going to say that it's the league they're in. But I'll tell you, talking to some of these guys this summer, you really just sense that, they were very adamant about, look, I think this is a year where this league is as strong as it's been, and that's from top to bottom, really. And we're seeing it so far. And, again, it is early. We're sitting here the first week of December. Once we get to conference play, we'll see which teams sort of separate themselves. But some of these teams have really done a good job so far. You mentioned SMU. Yeah, they haven't played a great schedule, but they've won every game, and that's better than losing some of these games, whereas we've seen teams around the country, lose games to teams they shouldn't lose games to, but SMU hasn't done that. Look at what Tulane's done with Ron Hunter there. They've played pretty well to this point. Tulsa, another one, Frank Haith. I did the story for them for Blue Ribbon this summer, and, he said it. Someone like Brandon Rashall, who was at OSU, has really been a player for them, and they feel like they could be right up there near the top. And this, again, we're not even mentioning the teams that everyone knows are right up there when it comes to Memphis, Cincinnati, Houston, Wichita State, UConn, up and down the list. That's where it's gotten to, and I think that's going to make for a conference season that may be unlike any other we've seen in the American in years, or maybe ever at this point, but it's based on, the conference when it was implemented, because I just think you've got a lot of versatile teams and a lot of versatile talent. And, again, that's a coaching roster, too, that I think doesn't get the credit it deserves sometimes.
And the one team that you did not mention that's only lost once so far is Temple. With their new coach, Aaron McKee, when they say goodbye to Fran Dunphy, I really thought, there's an institution. I love that guy. But this kid, may be able to relate to a younger player a little bit better than Dunphy, who's, 70 years old.
Yeah, no, and I did too. I love Fran Dunphy. He was probably one of you talk about a first-class guy. He was the best there is. There's no doubt. And you think about it, we were talking about Maryland a little while ago. Who's the team that's played Maryland the best so far? It's Temple. Temple's a team that's challenged Maryland better than anybody to this point. And so I think it's a situation where, like we're saying, it's a league where I know everyone wants to focus in, on the Big Ten, on the ACC and all that. But if you want to find pure competitive conference games every single night in what is a league that has a lot of exciting, sort of style of play, and you've got coaches that are very gritty. This is the American is going to be a lot of fun to watch.
I'll give you another one, the A-10.
Yeah, the A-10. And, that's something with the A-10 where, I'll be honest with you, Davidson's a team that I was probably higher on than anybody, and they've struggled to this point. But you see what VCU's doing. You see what Dayton's doing. Richmond started pretty well.
Duquesne.
I've seen Richmond. And Duquesne. That's another league where it's so easy to kind of look back at the struggles they've had in recent years. But now you look at a season like this where, like you said, Keith Ambrose, what he's doing at Duquesne, and VCU and Dayton, we've already seen what they're capable of on the national stage.
Dayton blew me away in Maui.
At a great Maui.
Yeah, they're a team that's a legit, second weekend type of team. At the tournament, they could get to that point. They're that good, because you do have Obi Toppin and what he can do, and it's in St. Louis. I'll say that.
Our old rival, the Billikens, are good. They've only lost once.
Yeah, Travis Ford, another guy, I did their story for Blue Ribbon this summer, and he was talking about just the development of some of his guys this summer, and we've seen it. They've got a good nucleus there. They're inexperienced. That's something to keep an eye on with them, but they've got some talent, and they're going to play defense under Travis Ford. I'll tell you that. But, yeah, that A-10's another one's going to be a lot of fun.
He's Blake Lovell. You read him with Clutch Points app and the Blue Ribbon magazine. It's all about college basketball. He's with us in this time slot every week on Thursday. Thank you, Blake. We appreciate it.
Always enjoy, guys. Thanks for having me.
You got it.
He's brought to you in part, by the way, by Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch, and the new Genesis of Olive Branch. It's the same building, same thing, Craft Road, right there, first exit Mississippi off Highway 78. They're doing more with Genesis cars now. There's more on the lot. There's more in the building. It's really cool. Go see the G70. Go see my G90. There's one G90 so loaded that on the back seat level, right where the headrests are, the back of the driver's headrest, there's a television screen. I'm not kidding you. It's like a computer-sized TV screen on both of them. This technology is so amazing. And this is the new luxury car that is taking America by storm, so much so that they are building more of them because there is an absolute demand. And, of course, at Homer Skelton Hyundai, now also known as Genesis Olive Branch, well, they're making it bigger because they know they're bringing in more product. You go see what I'm talking about. You know the product's so good. 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty on every new car. And that's the Hyundais, too. Go see what I'm talking about with Chris True. Just go into Mississippi, Craft Road, right there. You'll understand the marriage between technology and service. It's perfect. It's the place, the way car business should be done at Homer Skelton Hyundai.
Before we go to a break, are y'all up for a Thursday night NFL pick?
Sure.
You up, Drew?
You're just.
I'm ready for it.
You've fallen behind now, and you're just trying like the Dickens to get back in it.
Drew's not that far behind.
Dave's starting to sound a little scared there, isn't he?
Really? Are you scared? You scared of the competition?
No, I like the way you try to.
You want to sit on your lead?
As soon as you start to lose, you add games. You start to make desperate moves.
Dave, that's some accusation. It's wholly accurate.
Have we ever had a Thursday night pick yet? Oh, you said it's wholly accurate. Yeah,
wholly accurate. I mean, unbelievable. Yeah. You would levy a charge like that's completely true.
I know.
I take great offense to it.
All right.
Dallas Cowboys, America's team, my Cowboys. Me and Jerry Wayne Jones is Cowboys.
And you're giving 3.5.
Minus 3.5.
My Bears in chilly Chicago, 30 degrees.
You take?
No, I'm going to wait for you. I'm going to wait for you.
Drew?
What's the line again?
3.5, Cowboys.
Give me the Bears. I guess. Reluctantly.
Can you sing Bear Down Chicago?
No, I'm not going to.
Drew takes the Bears. I take Dallas.
I figured you would. And you know what? I'm going to give you a chance to catch me. I'm getting 3.5.
You're getting 3.5 at home.
Bear down Chicago Bears.
There you go.
You know how many games Dak Prescott has won against winning teams this year?
0.
Bingo.
But he's playing Mitch Mitchell.
The Bears are 500.
That's his legal name now, Mitch Mitchell.
Mitch Mitchell.
You'll be texting me by the second quarter how bad he stinks.
I might.
You'll turn on him again tomorrow.
I might. I'll never turn on the Bears.
Oh, you did.
But Nagy and Trubisky.
You turned on the Bears harder than you did the Cubs.
I can turn on.
Definitely a lot quicker.
I can turn on Trubisky
before
I
September
can turn on
was over.
Nagy. That was just definitely.
You turned on the Bears.
I don't.
20th of September.
Virginia McCaskey. She must be losing it at 95.
Boy, you're not going to go after a boy. Talk radio takes an ugly turn. Memphis talk show host goes after a 95-year-old matriarch of the Bears. That's what the headline's going to say at Deadspin.
Oh, I love her. But man, she made a mistake with this one. We got to take a break. We're back in a minute. This is Sports Time with Wolo and Stats.
Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy get you through the midday with Sports 56 Middays. Delivered by FedEx. Weekdays from 10 till 1 on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
It may not be stomach issues.
For me, it's intense gas, or pain, or diarrhea, sometimes all at once, over and over.
I spent years with the symptoms, but could never figure it out.
No matter what I did, they never went away. So I decided to break it down for my doctor and get really specific about my symptoms.
We discovered that exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, may be the reason for my stomach issues.
EPI is caused by my pancreas. It leads to diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, unexplained weight loss, and oily stools. The symptoms just don't go away.
But EPI can show up with even one symptom.
The good news? EPI is manageable.
But to get to the right diagnosis, you have to break it down for your doctor and get specific about the severity of your symptoms.
Visit identifyepi.com to learn more and use the symptom checker to help change the conversation with your doctor. Brought to you by AbbVie.
Pop the top on your next party. 34 North Cocktails. Available in Memphis now. Great for football grove parties, around the hunting campfire, and when you get home, entertain friends. Pop a premium can of Barrel Thief. Tastes just like an old-fashioned Barrel Thief made with aged bourbon, bitters, a hint of orange, a touch of vanilla, 15% ABV. Then, for you vodka lovers, try Sneaky Pucker, a refreshing lemonade premium vodka cocktail, 12.5% ABV. Made with super premium vodka, lavender, simple syrup, and lemonade. Delicious and smooth. Let the party begin with 34 North Cocktails.
Your nationally ranked Memphis Tigers are playing host to Cincinnati in the American Athletic Conference Football Championship game on Saturday at 2:30 p.m. This is the third straight championship game appearance for the Tigers, but this time it's at home. Tickets start at just $20 and are available now at GoTigersGo.com or by calling 901-678-2331. Memphis versus Cincinnati on Saturday, December 7th at Liberty Bowl Memorial Stadium. Be there and help the Tigers win the AAC Championship and a trip to the Cotton Bowl.
Stripe up.
How would you like a chance to win house payments for a year? Go to Sports 56 WHBQ and enter to win in our Home for the Holidays contest. You could win mortgage or rent payments for a full year. That's right. Get your home paid for an entire year. It's free to enter, so go to sports56whbq.com today. Enter now because it ends December 20th. It's the ultimate home court advantage. Home for the Holidays from Sports 56, 87.7 and 96.1. It Chapter 2, Pennywise is back. Tune in to Johnny Radio's Happy Hour, Monday through Friday, 1 to 3, for a chance to win It Chapter 2. The Losers Club reunites after 3 decades to face their deepest fears again in It Chapter 2 and destroy Pennywise once and for all. It Chapter 2. Win the digital movie now with Johnny Radio on Sports 56, 87.7 and 96.1 FM.
Welcome back to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Final segment of our show brought to you by Campbell Clinic. You know, we talk college basketball with Elliot Perry every week. Campbell Clinic is a sponsor of that. We're going to talk with Glenn Rogers Jr. for the last time tomorrow. And where do you go for pediatric orthopedics? Who takes care of our high school football teams? Who will be going with ECS to Cookeville? I promise you there'll be somebody from Campbell Clinic there. You've got to know they're the only ones that have pediatric orthopedic doctors. Nobody else does. They've got 6. They're the experts, and your child deserves to see the best when their growing bodies get injured, whether it's a school sports injury or one of those playground bumps and bruises. They are bound to happen. Campbell Clinic's team is there for your team. They also specialize in the more complex problems, scoliosis or childhood hip pain. They're the ones to see. 759-3111 or go online to campbellclinic.com to schedule an appointment. You and your child will be glad that you did. It's crunch time.
This is for all the biggest crunch time. You are looking live. It's crunch time. In your life have you seen anything like that?
Golly, I don't remember that one.
Take questions again for the student athletes at this time, please.
He's a professional. He's pretty classy for his age.
In the crunch time, that's the frustrating part.
Little Penny could make some appearances this year.
Okay, I'm not huge into stats.
Has it always been this way?
What's happening, big dog? How you doing?
Is this thing working?
Immediately when the buzzer sounds, he lets out this shriek.
You throw those ears for him, and he was in stroke mode.
This is stupid. It's obviously crunch time.
Boop, boop, boop. That's what you're getting.
Time for Taco Bell Crunch Time. Taco Bell, home of the crispy tortilla chips, topped with a double portion of either seasoned beef or shredded chicken, plus refried beans, nacho cheese sauce, reduced fat sour cream, guacamole, and a 3-cheese blend. Nachos Bel Grande, heaping portion of chips, topped with ground beef, tomatoes, beans, nacho cheese sauce, and a dollop of sour cream. Taco Bell, home to great food you get on your way home real fast, and they bring you crunch time every day.
Must win tonight for your Bears, Dave, and you're not going to win. I just pulled you right into my web of deceit.
Here's a must read. Here's a must read for you. Go to the Memphian, John Varlas's top 15 high school teams of the decade. That's really
it is.
It is really neat. In Whitehaven, what a decade they had. Ridgeway had a couple of good teams. That
and
is
John there
sure.
for it all.
What could you have done without?
Could have done without today. Do we go back and play the Lakers-Utah game from the time last night that LeBron had the malfunction when he traveled? No, we don't. We accept sports on game night. We go to bed with it, and we wake up to it, and that's the end of it. Get over it, crybaby Houston and Mike D'Antoni.
I could have done it without the Grizzlies' first half from three-point range. If you're going to do this new space and pace, and I think Taylor Jenkins is on it. I think he's going to get it right. But you're going to lose a game when you go 0 for 15 from three-point range in the first half when you're trying to become a three-point shooting team.
It's going to take a lot of patience for Grizzlies fans between now and the end of this year. It's going to be some rough nights.
On the other hand, I did like that Valanciunas came back and had a season-high 32. He played hard last night.
We're going to watch that Thursday night football matchup. It's a big one. Mitch Mitchell against Dak Prescott.
What?
What a mismatch that would be.
No. That's Mitch Trubisky, Mr. Trubisky to you.
7-minute mark, second quarter. He'll be texting me tonight what a bum he is. Mark it. Flag the tape. Also tonight in the NBA, a good one between the Rockets and Toronto. Does Nick Nurse get, I'm going to say enough credit, does Nick Nurse get any credit?
He doesn't get enough credit.
Champions of basketball.
He was also the Canadian Olympic team coach. I mean, he's getting a lot of credit, I think. Bill Bender, Russell Copeland, Dan Horde, Greg Gaston, Blake Lovell, we thank you very much. Tomorrow, a huge show. Bruce Marshall at 3:30. He's been so good this year. Peter Edmiston, we'll talk more Grizzlies with him. Glenn Rogers Jr., his farewell for 2019. Andy Schiffman, our agent at 5:30. The Friday football forecast. In this particular case, our poor Brett Norsworthy is a desperate man. Stay tuned to see what he will do. We'll see you all tomorrow. Have a great night, everybody.
Hi, this is John Conway with Conway Services, wishing you and your family a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We know at Conway Services the timing's not always right for you to have heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric problems. So during the holiday season, if you should find yourself in need of these services, just know that Conway Services is always ready to serve, and we also got financing options available. So during the month of December, Conway Services is offering our year-end heating system closeout special for as low as $79 per month. That's right, replace your heating system with Conway Services by year-end for as low as $79 per month. And if that's not enough, we'll include an April air cleaner, a free Nest thermostat, and a 10-year parts warranty. And you know with Conway Services, you'll be receiving our award-winning service every time. So call Conway Services, the Mid-South's premier heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric service company at 384-3511. And the first 30 callers with a 10-year-old heating system will come out and inspect it absolutely free.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
Hey everybody, this is Coach Penny Hardaway. There's a comfort in being home, and to me, comfort food and family makes Memphis the place to be, along with having the best basketball fans in America. I like pulling into Corky's and getting one of their family party packs. How can you go wrong with pork, beans, slaw, sauce, and buns for only $5.99 a person? It is so easy. I can call ahead, order online, or just pop in. Tailgating can't get any easier. Tell them Penny sent you.
Encore flavor, Corky's barbecue.
It's that time of year. Come join us at Family Leisure, 2120 Winton Road, Thursday, December 12th, all day, 7 to 6. We're raising money and, most importantly, bringing toys for Mid-South Toys for Tots. Help the boys and girls of the Mid-South have a happy holiday. You can do it. Bring those new unwrapped toys, checks, cash. Family Leisure, 2120 Winton Road, Thursday, December 12th, 7 to 6. Sponsored by Envy Nail Bar, Gateway Tire, David C. Nanny CPA in Hempville, South Haven, and Oxford.
Pop the top on your next party. 34 North Cocktails. Available in Memphis now. Great for football grove parties, around the hunting campfire, and when you get home, entertain friends. Pop a premium can of Barrel Thief. Tastes just like an old-fashioned Barrel Thief made with aged bourbon, bitters, a hint of orange, a touch of vanilla, 15% ABV. Thin for